think they might be cracking down on that, buddy.
You know, they're probably gonna start charging.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I need to get my boxing gloves out.
I think they might be cracking down on that, buddy.
All right, guys, we're live.
You know, they're probably gonna start charging.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Let me speak to that person that feels like they lost their worth and their value.
I need to get my boxing gloves
This
out.
is a dollar bill. Now, if
They
I go
might
to
be
the
cracking
store
down on that,
and
buddy.
there's something for 90 cents,
You
can
know,
I
they're
buy it
probably
with this
gonna
dollar
start
bill?
charging.
Okay, all right.
I
So
wouldn't be surprised.
if I go to the store and there's something for 85 cents and after tax, it ends up being 96 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So what if I ball the dollar bill up? Think about it now. Like, I just balled the dollar bill up, like, so it can't be worth $1 now. It's probably worth like 95 cents, right? How much you think it's worth? $1. Listen, y'all gotta pay attention. I just balled it up, so clearly it's not worth $1 anymore. All right, so maybe, what if I step on it? What if I stomp it? I just stomped it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 65 cents, 68 cents? It's still worth $1? Okay, what if I ball it up? What if I stomp on it and then I put it in the trash can and it's in here with some trash and it's around some beer and some gum and a bunch of other nasty stuff and some guy off the street pulls the dollar out, unfolds it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 82 cents? And come on, at least 92 cents? It's okay, all right, so what if I ball it up? What if I step on it? What if I put it in trash and then, watch this, I tear it in half? Think about it now, right? How much is it worth now? $1? I could tape it? Whoa. Shh. Wait. Wait a second. I just balled it up. I just stepped on it. I put it in trash. I pulled it out. Then I tore it in half. And you mean to tell me I can pick the dollar up, I can wipe it off, and I can put some tape around it, and it's still worth $1? Then why, if this dollar doesn't lose its worth or its value, then why do you feel like you've lost your worth and value? Because many of you feel like you've been stepped on, you feel like you've been pushed aside, you feel like you've been abandoned, you feel like you've been talked about, you feel like you've been abused, like someone took from you, someone hurt you, somebody took advantage of you, and deep down inside your core, you feel like you've lost some of your value. And I am here to tell you today that this dollar still has worth and value, because there are some men years ago who put value over this life and said that no matter what happens to it, it can still be taped back together, it can still be wiped off. And I am here to tell you that you were created and you're born and you're here and you have life and you have purpose and you have value. And though you've gone through some hard times and though you've experienced some depression and you might be wanting to hurt yourself and you might want to give up, I am here to tell you still got worth and value. And there is nothing that can happen that can take your worth and your value away. So what you gotta do now is you gotta pick yourself up. You gotta dust yourself off and you gotta keep moving.
Here we go.
What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good? What's good? We are back. We are back. We are back. We want to say welcome to all the family. Welcome to the greatest podcast on your social media. Listen, it's that time again for the Black and the Bold podcast. And guess what? We got our special guest on today. The Beautiful has joined us on tonight. Here, you're going to hear some thought-provoking, gut-wrenching, and sometimes even tear-jerking content that you just can't get enough of. And I'm the Bold. I'm about to turn it over to the Black. We're about to get these introductions in. We got some good stuff for tonight. What's going on, Black?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up, family? We got a good one tonight, bro. This is DJ Dwayne Johnson, the Black on this end, coming out of Lowndes County, Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia. For those that already know, graduated from Lowndes High, went on to Georgia Tech, graduated there with electrical and engineering degree, went on to DC by way of Tallahassee, Texas, all the above, and went on to marry my current wife and had 3 wonderful kids. And we are definitely living the life of time rich. We started our own business with Bridge Builder Education and Investments, which is based on property management, which started with our real estate investments, turning them into rentals and managing for others. Since then, we've collected a nice portfolio that we own and manage, along with stocks and mainly stocks, ETF trading for that matter. But nonetheless, we're very heavily involved with the community. We can get into that some other time, but that's how it is on our end. This week for us has been really, as normal, crazy. A lot of meetings, United Way, some of the meetings with our vendors, and of course, school has started back, and so we're juggling kids back and forth. Cross country picked up, but nonetheless, it's pretty much the same old rhythm now that school has came into play. What about y'all?
Hey, man, this is the Bold. This is Mr. Eddie Mack, Valdosta, Georgia, proud grad of Lowndes High, proud grad of UCF, Orlando, Florida. Got escaped out of there with Bachelor's of Healthcare Administration. Later, went back and got a Master's of Public Administration. Corporate world, family man. Just started a business a couple of weeks ago and trying to get it off the ground. Trying to learn from my big bro. So yeah, we're trying to make some moves around here so we could be time rich as well. But week has been great, man. Got a new client, so just rolling as usual. Weather down here in Florida is a little crazy. It's rained actually every day, probably for the past couple of weeks, man. So it's been crazy, but it's been awesome. I'm still optimistic and looking forward to a great show tonight. Beautiful, what's going on with you tonight? How are you?
I am very well tonight. I'm very well. It's still Leo season. I'm still celebrating my birthday month, so I'm still going strong with that. I am doing fabulous. But as you have said, I am Suzette Michelle. I hail to you from Valdosta, Georgia, where I too am an alumni of Lowndes High. I'm also an alumni of Valdosta Technical College, where I obtained my associate's degree in radiologic technology. I worked in the healthcare field in this community, providing quality and professional healthcare services to all of those who came in need. Okay. I have 3 beautiful, wonderful children that I'm raising and just enjoying life at this point. I'm feel very honored and very excited to be a part of this trio here tonight. We challenge each other, and they will tell you that. Although I am outnumbered, okay, we hold our own, queens. It's what we do. Is what we do. We're gonna be okay. But so I had a wonderful week. I'm just glad to be here. I'm just ready to get it popping, see what we're gonna be talking about tonight. Because I have a feeling that our viewers are really gonna be intrigued by the conversations tonight.
Yeah, I think we got a good one tonight. I think I'll give credit to you, the Beautiful and the Black. I mean, they have really dug into the crates and got us some great content on the night. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm ready to go. I got my Red Bull rolling. I'm ready to make this thing happen. Listen, we've got some wonderful people on live with us tonight. Thank all of you all that have jumped on the live. And while you're here, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Please make sure you go ahead and share this to your social media platforms, your Twitter, your Facebook, your IG, your Twitch, wherever you're at. Go ahead and share that. We want to make sure we get this message out. Listen, we are on the World Wide Web, that thing called YouTube. And listen, we have just decided to stomp with the big dogs, take what we got and go with it. So listen, go ahead, make sure you like to help the algorithm. Go ahead and share, subscribe, let folks know we're on, because we got some good stuff to talk about tonight. I promise you, I'm gonna get on somebody's nerves tonight. I promise you, somebody's not gonna like me after tonight. I promise you, you're gonna have something gonna make you laugh tonight. Either way, you're gonna enjoy the show. So thank you all for logging on. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We're getting ready to jump right into our hot topics for tonight. Did anybody have anything before we jump right into our hot topics?
No, let the games begin.
All right,
Just,
let's go.
shout out to Joseph Dallas Moore on with it. He's present with his popcorn, and Jar K is back for another round. Thank you for
Yes.
you all. So if you are present, because I see some people that are present as far as the numbers, they're going up. So if you're present, go ahead and log in and tell us who you are, where you're hailing from, and so we can get you recognized. Definitely
Queen.
Joseph Moore and Jar K are top fans of ours coming from.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need some help tonight, Queen. They own me tonight, girl. They own me tonight. Call all the queens. Hoo-hoo. Let them know. Come on. Log on.
Somehow, Bo, she's already calling for help, and we ain't even said anything yet.
Bro, you already know what's about to go down.
We are constantly outnumbered. Hello, every single show. I am just calling my people, my tribe.
You know, really, we don't have to be against each other. You know that, right? Jar K, step on in. All right. So for our hot topic, we got a couple of things that I wanted to bring up tonight. One, Lowndes County Schools report. We saw, just for the sake of fairness, we saw Valdosta City Schools put out their COVID report, and they had about 55 people, when I say people, students that were diagnosed positive with COVID-19. Lowndes County reports as of yesterday that they have 175 students that have been diagnosed with COVID-19. And as a result, 226 students are quarantined due to school exposure. In sort of perspective, what that means is that they have a student population of about 1.6% that diagnosed with the virus, according to this report from the Valdosta Daily Times. Putting it into a further perspective from a density standpoint, I would say look at the citation from Department of Public Health for Lowndes County, where they are reporting 0.3%, according to their reporting, for community data that has been diagnosed positive. 0.3%. Remember that I said Lowndes County School Systems is at 1.6. So you're obviously looking at over 2 times the density factor of positive cases in Lowndes County School Systems. This is something that I brought up with the Valdosta Daily Times earlier today. Perhaps getting an editorial written about this disparity between the school systems. If you remember the numbers, keeping up with the facts and the numbers, Valdosta City Schools had about mid-50s as of this past week. So you really are looking at twice the number as far as the, actually not twice the number, 3 times the number, 55 compared to 175 students at this point. And the difference, if we put all things equal aside with regards to cleaning habits, social distancing, et cetera, the main difference in policies is the mask mandate over at Valdosta City Schools versus the recommended mask wearing, optional mask wearing at Lowndes County School Systems. This is something to be aware of. I do have students there. Thankfully, we have not had any cases that have made our students quarantine. But you do have to be concerned with the fact that masks are not being mandated over there for whatever reason, because when you look at the CDC guidance officially had been updated that prompted Valdosta City Schools to change their mandate to wearing masks. And that guidance from CDC is that indoors, all school staff, personnel, and students, of course, should wear masks. So moving on into the same type subject dealing with COVID, Walmart. Now, Bold, you probably, Black, all this, sorry. Bold and the Beautiful, all right? You probably have seen some of this in other areas, but I had to look at this from a different perspective, kind of pull back to the 10,000 foot view, because it hit me on a Saturday afternoon I saw a Facebook Live from, I think, WALB News, where they were doing a live broadcast with regards to Walmart shutting down on Norman Drive at 2 p.m. out of the blue. All right. It took Valdosta by storm in the sense of the comments. Well, we'll just take our money elsewhere. How dare you shut down? This obviously means they had an outbreak. It was rat infested, all kinds of theories that were floating around this. We even had people talking about this is the first time the store has ever been cleaned. You can hear your shoes, your sneakers when you walk into the bathroom. You know, that little squeaky, creaky, sticky sound.
Right. Dirty mop water.
But the fact of the matter is that Walmart, calm down, Valdostans and those that are loyal shoppers of the Norman Drive Walmart. I get it. It was inconveniencing, but Walmart has been doing this across the nation. Did see a couple of stores quite recently in Florida that have done this. They shut down for about 48 to 72 hours so that they could do deep cleaning by the resource. And so Valdosta had a Walmart shut down from 2 p.m. on Saturday and opened back up at 6 a.m. on this Monday yesterday. So if that happens to the Bemis Walmart or the Inner Perimeter Walmart, it is just procedure. I'll leave it at that. They know they're taking the right steps to make sure Walmarts are clean. They're trying to help everybody out, especially our first responders, so that we're not just infesting our Walmarts. And that's your news update. Any thoughts on that, guys?
It's kind of funny though for Walmart to abruptly shut down. I think that is a little weird. You know, obviously this is a problem that they were well aware of prior to all of this. You know, this shutting down. And you know how we are. We're in the cancel culture. So how dare you have a real life experience? How dare you? You know, have an ebb and flow like any other business can. You know, how dare you? So yeah, I'm not surprised of the the backlash. However, I'm surprised that a Walmart did it. But hey, you know how that is. You know, everybody love their Walmart, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, they're trying to be the leading tip of the sword, if you will. It was out of the blue, and I think they're, from a policy standpoint, maybe they could have rethought it in a different way of how do you kind of shut down a main store or main stores. Walmart is big in the middle of the day. And so usually, falling back onto my, engineering experience with regards to data networks that are mission critical, usually those type things happen in the after hours, way after hours at night. And so when you're talking about shutting down a main artery of people's daily lifestyle, it can be sort of out of the blue.
Yeah, I think it's also a wake-up call for us to understand that there are a lot of these Walmarts that are actually shutting down to reopen, but when they reopen, they're probably going to be at least 50% AI. There's a lot of AI going around. There's a lot of implementations happen overnight where you'll walk. I think it's the Walmart on Norman. It might be the Walmart on Norman. But when you walk inside, they've basically replaced all of the registers with self-checkouts.
That's right.
Well, they still have a few. They still have a few, live person checkouts, which I kind of prefer to go to that.
But that's what I'm saying. They're getting rid of that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these shutdowns, we're going to go back to these stores and we're going to see way less people. I don't know if you've been in the Walmart, but now they have the AI controlled aisle sweeper.
Yeah. And what's even more surprising, they have an AI check-in in the emergency room. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you go to the emergency room, you don't get a whole person. You type your whatever you got going on in the kiosk.
Better. That's probably better.
Yeah,
you're going to see all businesses, move in that direction, like you just said, Bold, and like you confirmed, beautiful with regards to companies going that direction. For instance, with if you notice, like McDonald's, Taco Bell, all of those areas now have apps to where basically they want you to order ahead of time, and then by the time you get there, they already can recognize that you're there by your phone proximity, so they begin making your order. So it's already in motion. And it's out of the vein of convenience.
I actually love that option. Really, I love it.
I've been using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I am very proud. I am very proud of that Walmart on Norman Drive closing down, because that Walmart is the most risk Walmart. It's right by the interstate. We get a lot of traffic in and out. People traveling go to that particular Walmart. So I commend them for shutting it down for the sake of the local community people, because we get a lot of travelers through there.
Yeah, and to be honest, the gratitude should definitely go to Walmart in general, because it's going to roll around to all Walmarts. To be practical about it, it wasn't necessarily that one chose to shut down, but Walmart Corporation is doing this rolling shutdown across the nation. If you just look at what's out there, you can see many other cities that are upcoming shutdowns and those that have been doing it. Actually, the rolling shutdown has been happening over the last year. We just didn't see it here. So who knows when Bemis Neighborhood Walmart or the Inner Perimeter Walmart, which is definitely second on the list, to have that practical cleanup. My question to kind of follow up with that is that when will we see the next one, even after COVID is done? Because Walmart, as somebody said, is pretty grimy.
That Walmart is the oldest Walmart we have here.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I agree.
when they open back up, it's going to be a whole number. It's going to be an Amazon distribution center.
You won't even recognize it.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
All right,
bro. Well, we went through our quick hot topic section. Now we got to get right down to our questionnaire. This is where it's going to get good. We've got three or four questions that we want to ask, and listen, we want you to strap in and get prepared, because it's going to be a rough one. Beautiful. Go ahead and lead us out with our first two.
Hold on. I got to start this off.
Oh, my bad. Let me.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Got to get them in.
Coming out in the. Okay. All right. Anyway. All right. Beautiful. Go ahead and let's jump on with question number one.
Gladly, I will gladly start this thing off. So our first question of tonight's show, ladies, would you date someone shorter than you? Would you? And men, are you confident enough and secure enough to date someone much taller than you? Chime in. Let me see what you guys say about it.
Come on, John K.
Speak up.
Come on, I can't speak into the mic. We can't hear you.
So beautiful. How tall are you, beautiful? I'm gonna give you the Kevin Samuels treatment. How tall are you? Before you go any further, how tall are you?
Oh, we role playing tonight. Well, I give the typical Kevin Samuels show. I'm 5'2", size 3.
Dress size.
All right. Bold, how tall are you?
Dress size. 5'10".
Okay. All right. Is that the official height or the football program listed height? You know how y'all do.
You know what? Actually, in my football programs, they always had me shorter than my actual height. That was
really?
Yeah.
No, that's how tall you really were. You were just on something.
Right. I was gonna say, because I remember they always listed us like probably an inch taller. I was always listed as 5'11". I'm pretty sure we're about the same height.
Yeah, we're 5'10", somewhere around there. Yeah.
So
you kept hope alive. You kept hope alive.
I know, help alive. Hey, so you're actually about 5'2", Suzette?
Yeah, I'm 5'2".
Okay. All right. So would you date someone shorter or taller, respective to the gender? Let's see what's going on out there. Ooh, Jarkay got some she don't know about that one. Jarkay, speak to us. All right, we got some other people watching. Speak up. All right, Calvin, I see you there. You showed up. But yeah, I mean, past experience, I've never dated anyone.
Come on, really?
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 I know you know my past. I know you can't talk either now.
No,
but hold on.
I'm talking about these comments.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's get to the viewers. All right. Anybody taller than me is a man. Nah, I'm good. All right, Joseph. Jarkay says, I've dated someone shorter. I'm 5'7", he was 5'6". Okay, so
I didn't even recognize he was shorter than you. He was only an inch. Jarkay, come on. Really?
Yeah.
We'll give it to you. Okay, technically he was shorter. Okay, he's an inch shorter. All right, all right, all right. If he had dreads or had hair on his head, you couldn't tell.
He had to wear ball caps all the time, make up for that inch. I personally have never dated anyone taller than me per se. I say that slowly because you remember a young female bold by the name of Tiffany, and I'll keep the last name anonymous there, if you will.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, she was a model type, tall, but I don't think she was not taller than I was. I wouldn't say that. But everyone else has been athletic, height, if you will, respectively shorter, about 5'6", if you will. What about you all?
Suzette?
I think anybody shorter than me would be considered a little person. So I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah, that's pretty challenging to go below 5'2". You got a point.
Yeah. So no, I've never experienced that.
Okay, so wait. I gotta push back on that. I gotta ask you a question. We gotta go a little deeper.
Yeah, you gotta go into the question though.
Yeah, because all right, because aren't women the ones that are usually pushing for this? Oh, what about the character? Oh, what about the person? Oh, what about the heart? Oh, what about this? And now, what if he has all the money, has all the heart, all the compassion, all the love, all of the everything, and he is 5 foot?
Finish him.
Good. Let's get it.
Oh, well, if that be the case,
Stop the cap.
Come on.
you know what I'm saying? It would definitely have to he have to be a fabulous person. Yeah. Fabulous.
Hold up now. Wait a
Wow.
minute. Wait a minute. Now, wait. Hold on. So if he's shorter than you, he's got to be fabulous.
That's the aim, bro. That's
wait. So think about it. All right. So we look at what men bring or supposed to bring. We'll put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Provision, protection, all that stuff. Logic thinking.
Right.
Putting some control over your purse strings and all that stuff. He's a man's man. He's athletic. He works out. He's a protector. He had 2 black belts. He makes 300,000 plus a year.
wow.
That equals fabulous.
He's a moving shaker. So he's got to be extra extraordinary.
Yes. If he's
Very rare.
shorter, if a gentleman, yes.
He's got to be.
find him.
He's got to be less than. He has to be in the less than 1 percentile of men.
She won't find them, bro.
Wait a minute now. The female is already compromised, and this man is 5'1" or shorter. Okay, so what the woman has to logically consider that she might have to be the protector sometimes.
Wow.
She might. I don't know.
Listen, John K done told the truth because any man that's under 6 foot is considered short. So John K said, y'all better not sleep on them short men. I'm just gonna tell you right now, y'all better sleep out. You don't be sleeping on me. Shoot.
Okay, I said he had to be fabulous.
Oh,
because you know what also comes with the short man sometimes is the Napoleon complex. So
oh my God. Why is it that every time it's
Sob story.
we're waiting? Huh? It's always got to be something wrong with it, man.
Wow.
If he ain't up to par, he gotta have an
Napoleon complex.
hey,
Domineering because he's short.
He got to be intimidated and all this. All right.
I'm gonna have to be the protector. You ain't even met the man, but you wanted him to be fabulous.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot to overcome. A female has to.
Wow. Okay. All right. So my turn. Turn. Because I'm ready to turn this story around.
Let's go.
Would I date someone taller than me? Right. That's the question.
That's the question.
All right. I think it has to be a levels to how tall.
It has to be very noticeably tall.
Yeah,
Very noticeably tall. It just can't be a 1 inch. We talked about that. I mean, it has to be like you looking up to her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd have a problem with it. it depends on who kind of what kind of woman she is. You know, if she's athletic and all that kind of stuff. I think it would be more of a problem for her than it would for me, because most women prefer men to be that figure, to be, you know, that protective figure, that big guy, and you know, she can look up into his eyes and all that kind of foolishness. So I think it would probably be a more situation for her than it would for me per se, especially when she's wearing heels. But would I go looking for a taller woman? No. Would I consider? I would, but it would depend on how tall she is. If she's like 6'5",
Amazon.
yeah, no. 5'8", 5'9", 5'10".
We said taller.
10, so it had to be 5'11".
5'11",
I would
6
say
foot.
5'11" to 6 feet was about as tall I'll go.
Gotcha.
Because a woman 6 foot tall is tall for a
Yeah.
woman. So and then on top of that, it depends on, is she a heels girl? Again,
Another 3 to 6 inches.
I'm gonna say again that it's really gonna be on her, because I'm confident. It don't bother me, but it would probably bother her more of her walking around with a guy she's taller than. So
for instance, in the 90s, you remember this young queen by the name of Tyra Banks.
yeah,
All right. 5'10". She throws on a pair of those Victoria's Secret heels, buddy.
and she turned into what?
6'3".
6'3".
What you gonna do with it?
Again, bruh, it don't bother me. I'm confident with mine. It's gonna be her, because she's got to walk around with a guy she got to look down to. That's gonna be something she got to work out. But I'm good with it. I'm cool. I'm not shaken by her height. I'm good.
So we good.
Yeah, we good. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else? Next question. Y'all ready for the next question now?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Got Joseph over there crying.
You know, good thing these questions are hypothetical, because I would love to see how this play out in real life. But anyway, we're gonna move on.
You know, all black men lying, so you know
we're gonna move on. Let's see, ladies. I did not pose this question, but in all due fairness, I will present it.
Oh Lord.
The question is, should child support be considered earned income? What do you think?
Oh hell no!
My sentiments exactly, without moving. No, absolutely not. It's not earned in no way, form, or fashion. No.
A resounding no by the bowl.
Didn't do anything special. No. It is not earned. You didn't do anything different than the other girl would have done. You just ended up being the one. No, absolutely not. It is not earned. Why
So
child support earned?
2 points I'll add on to that, just for the sake of the picturing of this. All right. One, in rental management, I see this from time to time. When we put employment down for people to list their employer and how much they make, earned income, I see women putting under their employment as listing their income $600 in child support, not from their employer, but from child support. Another point I'd make in relation to earned income, I'm not giving an opinion right now. I'm just stating what is factual. This is what I've seen for factual on applications. The other thing is earned income, for what it means, earned through a job, consistent day-to-day job, in relation to child support, not child rearing daycare, but child support, which by understanding that is a calculation that is due to the mother to go towards the child, not her income.
No.
Just thinking about it. Push back, that's fine.
No.
Well, first of all, it's not in. First of all, it's not in the woman's favor to have it to be earned income. We have to, and that means we would have to claim it on our taxes. I don't know if women do or don't. I don't know how that goes
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the
They
point.
claim
You're
it on
right.
their taxes.
No, you're right. I'm adding to that you're right. You're
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
It's
So
not,
it's really not a plus. However,
well, it's not earned income either. Because
yes,
the
it is
no. I'm only saying that based on the way the government looks at it.
right.
Government looks at earned income and taxes earned income. Therefore, child support by definition of the tax code is not earned
Yeah.
income.
Yeah.
You don't get
And,
taxed
and,
on
and
it.
it wouldn't benefit us to count it as such. Because it would for some women, it would put them in another tax bracket. So I mean, it doesn't benefit, but
Well, I mean, that argument can be made for anything, investments, etc. I like not to put that I earn income from a rental just so it doesn't put me in another tax bracket, but that is money that I received. And so child support is money that a mother has received. And so it is quite interesting that you don't have to put yourself in another tax bracket, yet on my applications for rental, you're putting it as income that I need to consider.
yeah, and what do you do with that information? You consider it because that
No, I don't. No, I don't.
consider it.
No, I don't.
Well,
No.
perhaps not you, but some people do.
No
Yeah,
one
some
ever
people do.
should.
You're right. And
Yeah.
the reason that I don't is because it's not earned income. And when I say earned, I'm not challenging the word earned because you have the
I am.
you have had the baby and everything, and you earned the motherhood title and everything, but it is not day-to-day earned income by definition of a tax code. Therefore, if that man stops paying because he's not a boss paying you, he's not an employer paying you, that money stops. Therefore, I don't need to count it as a rental earned income because it can go away at any moment. And you all know that.
That's the well. First of all, the same can be said about an actual earned income. The job, somebody's job can stop. I mean, the pandemic has shown. I'm
You
being
know
honest.
that you know that you all take people to court over the father not paying. But when's the last time you heard somebody taking an employer, McDonald's, to court because they stopped paying them and fired them for rightful reason? And some men have a case to say, I rightfully stopped paying because I can't see my child. We ain't got to go into all this now. Let's not get it started now.
Well, we don't have to go into the weeds, but what the one I would like to focus on is the term earned. I do think it's earned. Maybe not by IRS's definition, but the money is earned.
Well, that's the difference between men and women. Men use words to express or describe reality. Women use words to create reality. They've already given us what the word earn means. So we can't come back with our own definition of what we think earned is. Earned by definition means to obtain money in return for labor or services. So when it's earned, it's
services,
for
not
labor
past tense.
or services. Labor,
Not past tense.
And women,
work. This is talking about work. This is talking about work. We're not talking about you going through child labor, because that is going to be commensurate with every woman that has a baby.
correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So at that point, when you
And
look at
labor.
the word
But
earned,
guess what?
wait. When you look at the word earned,
Yes.
money in return for labor or services. How is it earned and you didn't work for it? It's child support. You didn't earn it.
It's not labor support.
Thank you. Second of all, when you look at the word earned by definition, it's when you earn it of an activity called someone to obtain money. Third definition of capital invested, gain money as interest or profit. So again, child support is not tied to either one of those definitions. It's not.
It is.
It's not tied to any labor or services in return for your work. We gave you money. If that be the case, then he's paying you because you had a baby.
And even to further what he says, that in return for
No.
your work, because a mother can stop working, go to the court and say that I have a hardship, I'm not able to work, and still get child support. So
Right.
there is not working there. The other thing I'd say is that Calvin Berrien chimes in. He says, thank you, Calvin, for adding your comments here. He says the father already paid taxes on that money just to add to the fire. So the father's paying taxes on his earned income. The mother is receiving tax-free money that she doesn't have to report on her tax return.
So it is not
You,
earned.
you got you gentlemen, and let me I say that respectfully. You gentlemen don't think that raising a child and making sure they're
no,
not in
None
harmful
of that
ways.
came out of our mouth. None of that came out of our mouth.
But what did come out of your mouth is that you're paying for services. Those are services. When the mother gets up and stays up with the child, make sure they're clothed, make sure they're clean, make sure they're fed.
That's
make
not
sure
what you're getting
they're
child support for.
So
That
stop
is not
right
what
there.
you're getting child support.
Yes, that is child support.
You can go to a court any day and argue that, and they'll tell you that that's not what you're getting child support for. You're getting child support. You're getting child support. This is from a person who's paying child support. You're getting child support for future activities, so that child, from the point of separation of those two individuals, sees no change in support of what that child has experienced thus far.
Exactly.
Commensurate to what the father is able to bring in. It does not go into child labor.
No, not alone. Although I do think that needs to be factored in. But the point is, I'm going from your definition, or from your definition you just said, to the child should not feel any change from point of separation of the mother and the father. Exactly. So that child support is going to make sure that the home is secure, make sure the utilities are secure, make sure that the food is secure. That's a part of it.
Not a reimbursement for your labor.
No, first of all, y'all can't even afford. Okay, there is no
That's
price.
Not the argument. Nobody's arguing that
point.
There we go.
We didn't get, now there's the diversion.
There we go.
That's the diversion tactic right there.
That's not a diversion. That's not a diversion.
There's no need to bring it up.
There is no amount of money that women can receive to experience that type of pain that they go through.
There it is. Oh, where is it? I got to go back to it.
Ladies, come on now.
Where is it?
You guys are not going to devalue our labor. I'm here for it. I'll take it.
Garque says, "I understand your point, Suzette. They don't understand."
Thank you.
Is it a woman thing? Because what you're trying to tell it sounds like what you're trying to tell us is that everything that you all do, you're expecting money for it.
No. They got another name for that.
So, what do they call it?
They got another name for that profession. But what I'm saying is that to say that a woman does not earn.
I got it, Bo.
Yeah,
no,
whatever.
Go ahead.
To say that she didn't earn anything, she didn't do anything. No.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let y'all.
So here's what I pose to you. Here's what I pose to you that blows everything that you just said away. When there's a separation and the two go into mediation and sit down with a mediator and they have to make their case to figure out who's going to have custody of the child, and whoops, the father has custody. The mother shall pay child support to the male. Is he getting paid for the time and labor? And y'all can't handle the trauma of childbirth, men, so we're going to pay you for that also? So you're telling me that basically child support is a reflection of rearing a child from a mother's standpoint based on that argument that you've made. But if it's a mother paying the father child support, that is inaccurate. That's not what child support is for. Child support is not a reflection of your motherly capabilities of producing a child.
Yes, it does. They call it fit and unfit parents. That determines what.
That's a different argument. That's a different argument.
It's the same.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
Come on now, you're gonna argue that. You're gonna argue that point.
From what you
argue that point to
argue
that point to a person that has been up and down the Florida line from DC to fight for visitation and still pay child support on a dime. That was never brought up in our cases as far as unfit parent. That's not a point to make when you're talking about just simplistic measures of child support alone. I get that they're unfit parents and you have to decide who's the best parent, but
Right.
you can also amicably decide what is the best situation for the child, and then child support is calculated for that.
Well, let's be clear. That should be the number one motivating factor anyway. What's best for the child? I don't advocate for mothers abusing the system, nor do I advocate for deadbeat dads. Like I said earlier, there's an entire term that was created for for men who don't participate in the parenting arena.
I got
Those are
statistics.
those
for
are
that,
two
bro.
extremes, by the way.
Two extremes.
And there's a whole host of people that
No.
actually operate within the system that just say, hey, there's a child support fee and I need to pay it. Or mother says, hey, I just need to put you on child support so I understand that I'm going to get some sort of compensation going forward to take care of our child.
Here's
It
another
doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. But what
It
I'm saying is that
doesn't.
child
It
support
doesn't.
works
I-
both ways.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't. But those scenarios do exist,
They
gentlemen.
do.
Let's try to
Yep.
act.
Okay.
Let's not act like
Yep.
they don't.
and let's do,
Wildfires in the forest exist too, but that doesn't exist here in Georgia.
right.
I mean, we can talk about everything
Yes,
that
they do.
exists.
Why, but here you go. But here's one thing. Here's one thing. The CDC, not the CDC, the census in
Mhm.
2016 has already debunked what you're trying to anecdotally bring up.
Okay, come on. What did it debunk? Let's not talk in riddles. Let's be clear for our viewers. What did it debunk exactly?
The census proves that out of every race in America, Black men are the most involved and the most active fathers. By the census, Black men are the most involved and active fathers in America.
Mhm.
So why is it that when we have these conversations, people always want to revert back to, what about all these absent fathers? What about that? There's two pieces of that. Number one, you chose them. Number two, when it comes down to that man, is he really inactive or is he blackballed and given an opportunity to be active? Because I know a lot. I don't
Yeah.
like, I know several
Mhm.
of my male friends, some of them fraternity brothers, some of them friends, some of them from the church, who have had real life stories where they have been forced to pay child support and hadn't seen their child in over a year because the mother won't let them. So are they inactive by consequence? Or are they inactive by choice?
You don't want my answer.
I do.
You don't want my answer.
Because if you answer, that means somebody ain't telling the truth. Whether the census is telling us a bold-faced lie, or there's a group of within our demographic that does not want to grab the facts that we are not absent.
Mhm.
So which one is it?
The Huffington Post points out also that the majority of Black dads, 2.5 out of 4.2 million, over half, do live with their kids, even if they're not married to their partner.
Mhm.
So what?
Majority.
I feel like it's by
Where's the
choice.
narrative coming from?
Hold up now, because your argument was, well, what about these absent fathers? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So are we
Exactly. I think well, first of all, before we splinter off into multiple directions, let me go ahead and answer your question. I think that dads who are not involved by choice. They can say the mother won't let me see their child, but if you really want to see your child, you will find a way, even if it means you got to catch a case to see your child. You're gonna see your child.
No.
What about the
again,
women?
No,
What about
nothing
the
to back that up.
What
No.
about when we see the women who are intentionally not allowing these men to see their
Exactly.
children? What about these women that are intentionally getting upset and getting and feeling like they're not getting what they want from the man? He's paying child support, but then he asks for extra. If he doesn't do extra, then you want to go back and put him on, report him or whatever.
Okay,
What's good with that? What about the post where they moved on with another man and the new man is now acting like he Daddy Warbucks, and now he's trying to control the situation, won't let the man see his own kids because now he's they got a match trying to figure out who bigger and badder. Come on now, these situations.
Well, first of all, according to your own statistic that you just laid out earlier a few moments ago, that happens rarely, according to your own statistic.
Right, and what's what
Okay, But to answer that question, yes, that does happen. However, I do also
But
know
we don't
the
want to
other.
bring up that. We want to talk
No,
over
no,
that.
no, no. That happens. I know women that use, and men for that fact,
Whoa,
that
whoa,
use
whoa, no. We talking
kids.
about women. Don't put that in men. Just women.
Okay, fine. I'll hold my own. I know women who
Okay.
use kids for puns, you know what I'm saying, to get back at their
Thank
ex and to manipulate the
I
situation.
just wanted to hear
Those
that.
people
Thank
exist.
you. Thank you.
Those people exist. However,
A lot of them.
if
However-
you are a male, black, purple, green, or whatever race you claim, whatever set you claim, if you're not participating in your child's life, that is by choice.
Yes, I
That
agree.
is by choice.
I agree. And there are some men that have opted out to say, you know what, I'm not going to be around. Guess what? Because it's a part of the conversation we don't like having. Is
And
that the fact
so-
that there are a lot of black women that are bitter. There are a lot of black women that are out of control. There are a lot of black women that are selfish. There are a lot of black women, that do a lot of stuff that end up hurting only the child because they're trying to, they're so stuck on that power struggle and want to control the situation. And now they got a situation where the guy don't want to come around because it ain't worth all the headache and the heartbreak.
The fact
You
of the
are
matter,
not gonna sit up there and
I'm not saying
disrespect
all.
some black women.
it's not about disrespecting black women. There's a system called child support defects that's in play. The majority of the time when men walk into a courtroom, it's already bent against them in relation to child support or going to jail. Thomas McIntyre actually reflects my point of view to use as an experiential example, is that he went to court several times about his kids for child support. Both ex-wives have gone to jail too, by the way. That's just a dad not putting pressure back on these mothers, going back to the broad examples that we were talking about. I would reflect the same thing. I've had experience in Florida and Georgia, and both have been very subjective to the courtroom, but they are leaned towards the mother because that's the normal situation, granted. All right. But when a father does not pay child support, they're coming down pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
But however,
First of all,
hold on. I'm not done. I'm not done. That was not an inflammation moment. Calm down. That wasn't an inflammation moment. What I was saying is that they come down hard. That's a fact. If you don't pay, you should come down hard. My point that you can be inflamed about is being inflamed, as Thomas said, and I'll tell you also, you've got women that are keeping kids from being seen by their fathers. Now, inflame on that.
I already admitted. Admitted.
No,
Admitted that there are some women, but they're with your own statistics state what I'm saying. That's not the norm. That's not the norm. As you said, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that fathers are involved and mothers won't allow them to be involved. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute now.
You're misunderstanding the stat.
Wait,
Stat. I'm an involved father. My kids are here. I'm involved. The stat is basically to reflect that there are not deadbeat fathers out there in the majority realm. When fathers cannot see their kids, though, on the flip side of the stat, if you say that there are fathers involved, majority, then obviously there is another 40% perhaps that cannot or have not seen for various reasons. You have to dive into that segment of that population to find out what are the reasons they're not seeing their kids. And I'm saying, as an example to my point, is that I've experienced that. Thomas McIntyre has experienced that. We can find others that probably haven't, to the points that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying that here's a problem both ways.
Exactly. I've already admitted that. But using your entire stats that you've already presented that men are involved, don't you think that the mothers are going along with it, cooperatively allowing them to be involved?
How is that alliance? This is not in relation to child support. This is to debunk, to say that there are deadbeat fathers out there. There's no stat to even back that up. The stat is that what Bold presented, that I looked up, that most dads, it's not about child support at that point, most dads are involved in general when it comes to Black fatherhood. That's a Black fatherhood statistic that
Mhm.
most of us are involved. It's not to contradict that mothers don't let them see their kids, because clearly, yes, that's a contradiction. Not saying that that's the argument. The
Right.
argument is that if fathers aren't involved, we have to find out why fathers are not involved.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a question for fathers who are involved to
It is
mentor
not
the
a
fathers who
question for
are not.
fathers alone. That is a question for mothers and fathers to come to the table and have
Yeah.
a discussion about.
I definitely agree, but I would not let you sit that entire
No. We're not sitting.
situation on
Now
women.
nobody said anything.
No, we're not sitting the entire thing in your lap. What we're
no.
trying to do is we're trying to get you to see
Well,
that.
that's all I hear. Mothers won't do this. Mothers won't do that.
Well,
You
I
know.
that's all-
said
and
Black
that's all-
fathers are very involved.
Okay.
And that's all we hear is men ain't.
And back to the point of child support, to wrap that up, is that child support is directly for specific reasons. Basic necessities, medical care, educational fees, child care, transportation/travel, entertainment, extracurricular activities, and college expenses. You will not find previous labor and activities that the mother did to raise that child on that list. That is subjective. There's no cost to that. And to the point of what you shall make is that is an invaluable cost. That's why the calculation is not based on you raising a child or having labor.
Correct.
It's invaluable to the point that you're making. But child support has a value. Therefore, it's only for those activities that
It's
are
not
to come
invaluable.
with the absence of the father.
So are you so Zach, as we get ready to close this up, are you saying that your involvement is the only involvement that requires recompense, while a man's involvement is just kind of like by default? Because what you're saying is you're valuing everything the woman does as justifiable to receive child support.
Okay,
And
let's
picture
be
you're
clear.
painting, the picture you're painting sounds like
No,
okay, so clear it up for me because the argument seems to be one-sided. Because it seems like
it's very one-sided,
No,
and
what-
it always is with you gentlemen.
no,
But
what I'm saying is when you come with that particular perspective,
mhm.
it sounds like you don't want to admit and even deliberate about the negative of the women. You're willing to admit it, but you don't want to discuss it. It's like, yeah, I brought that up already. But however, it's like you want to look over the fact that we have a large group of women. Look at all these women that have been caught on social media. What about the lady a couple of weeks ago that left her baby in the apartment for 5 days while she went partying? What about the woman the other day that locked her child up in the trunk in broad daylight? And if somebody wouldn't have seen her, she would have driven around Lord knows how long with the child in the trunk. What about the other woman who was just caught last week? She had her 2 dead children in the trunk of her car for over a year. What about the comment that Thomas McIntyre just made? His oldest son's husband would beat her after he left from seeing his son because the new man was jealous of the old man. I told you this stuff is happening. The problem is we're not putting it all out on Facebook and we're not bashing y'all when it happens. So this stuff that we're talking about is absolutely true. It's not a one size fit all, but men are struggling out. That's why 1 in 4 are getting married. Men don't want to get married. Why? Because the women we're choosing from aren't marriage material.
Suzette, have the last word, and we're going to move on to the next question.
I most certainly will. The question, we went off in so many different directions. The original question was, should child support be considered earned income?
No.
Now, the traditional definition of earned income, no, it should not be. However, I'm not saying that women should receive child support based on the fact that she merely had a child alone. But I do feel that there is an honorable mention to be had that the fact that the woman is raising some, if the children are in her care, the day-to-day struggle of it all, of motherhood, You know what I'm saying? The child support, men think they throw a couple of dollars at the female and she's supposed to be completely grateful for those few dollars. When most of the time, truth is, most of the time, that child support does not support the entire house alone.
That's why she
And
needs to go to work.
somewhere,
That's why she needs to get another job. That's why she needs to get a better job.
right. Well, yeah, if she's capable of doing that, most women do. Most women carry multiple jobs
Good.
to make the ends meet up. But my thing is, men, don't think you did something special because you're paying child support. I do. First of all, let me advocate. I advocate for the entire race, Black, for our entire race, men and women. First of all, let me be clear about that. I represent the women because I'm outnumbered. I have to represent them. You know what I'm saying? Who else is gonna do it? But let's be clear. There are women who take advantage of the system, and there are men who feel like they're doing, or doing the woman a favor by giving her child support. That money is not solely spent on the child alone, because there are some things that have to be taken care of in the household. You know what I'm saying? Utilities, mortgage, rent, groceries, gas, toiletries. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Should it be earned income? No. But if you got to define the definition of earn. She is earning it by making sure that your child is safe and hopefully being raised properly in the household.
All right. And as we transition, you know me, I'm gonna give you another stat. Before we ask this last question, I've found that men with children whose mother was absent, 59% of them did not get awarded child support. With that said, we're moving along. Next question. Is it fact or myth that all good Black men are incarcerated, gay, or married? Is it fact or myth that all good Black men are incarcerated, gay, or married?
Yeah.
Ladies,
What say you? Do you any clarification on those points, or structurally how we're gonna go about this, or
It's a myth.
myth?
It's a myth because it's a trope by many of our sisters that have decided that they've wanted to go their own way, and because they can't build a man, they can't build a guy to be what they want. Anytime we get anytime they get an opportunity to turn a man down, they'll put him in these three categories. He must be married, he must be gay, or something like that. I mean, they've done men like that over and over again. So when it comes to the fact that this is nothing but this is a response from most women who've been dating wrong, who've been choosing wrong, who don't know what it means to really be in a relationship, because they're finding fault in the men instead of themselves. So this is where you get this kind of, they rather locked up, married, or gay. That is absolutely a lie, because the stats show that over 50% of Black men are in the middle class, and over 60% are single and childless.
And to add,
30-something% of Black men are married.
and to insert a comment for you to continue on, is that 34% is the decrease since 2006 of the incarceration of Black males. It has declined since 2006 by 34%. Continue, please.
Absolutely, it's declined. But again, all of this, all Black men are locked up or in jail or gay is nothing else but another deflection for women not choosing correctly. I mean, men could easily say the very same thing. Are all Black women 304s, or all Black women whatever? Because the stats show that women cheat 4% less than men, and we all know that women always are bragging about, we cheat better than y'all. So I'm sure that 24% is actually much greater than that. So when you're talking about all these Black men are incarcerated, gay, or married, no, it's a trope. It's a color purple. It's a 1980s rendition of what the stats were back then. But again, since the 80s, it's been debunked, and then again since 2006, it's been debunked. So I think it's those that are saying that are doing a poor job of really learning how to date with intention, doing a poor job of learning how to vet men properly, for you to understand that most men that are aware, that are available, are the men that are the same men that these women turn down. These average guys that are plumbers, and these average guys that work for the city, and these average guys that are construction guys, and then making $40,000 and $50,000 a year, average men, they are being overlooked. Why? Because they don't show you that Instagram, that I'm gonna upgrade your life, that Beyonce gonna upgrade you and all that other stuff. And because these men aren't bringing that, they're looking over them. They're not over 6 feet. They're not tall, dark, and handsome. They're not athletic. They don't fit their mold. So they're looking right past these guys. Stats show that only 18 to 20% of men are actually dealing with 80% of the women. So that lets you know that 80% of the men are being overlooked. So again, it's a myth. It's not the facts.
Suzette, what say you?
He told the truth. Go ahead. Go ahead to Black. Just say I concur and keep it moving.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll repose the question again.
I don't know
Restate
about
it. Is it fact or myth that all good Black men are either incarcerated, gay, or married? Real simple, fact or myth, and then what's your opinion on it?
So you guys have already debunked the incarcerated, so that leaves only 2 categories left. So gay or married. I'm gonna say out of those 3 combined, yeah, I think that there's not very many good Black men that are available.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, just like behind me, the Price is Right. Huh? You're playing a game show over there. Sounds good. Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, in her corner, they're gonna be like, good answer. We're gonna be like,
Right.
I'm gonna be like Steve Harvey, like, man, did you just say that?
Now, there's some good ones out there. Then you gotta search high. Hello.
Oh, no, you don't. 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 No. What do you think, Black? What's your opinion?
Oh, myth. I mean, you know me. That's myth. I mean, we already, like Suzette kind of conceded to, we've already talked about some of this to debunk that myth. It is a good trope. It sounded good in the 90s. It sounded good in the 80s, coming out of the 70s when we had, a lot of prison population growth because of some of the presidents and whatnot. And again, that has an effect. However, as I stated, the trend is that is on the decline when it comes to those numbers in totality. And as far as, gay, married, I mean, as I said before, if you're at this point looking for a mate, yeah, I mean, you're going to have somebody that's married. You're going to bump into who you thought at work was a good potential, somebody you thought that was a good potential at church or wherever you go, and find out he's wearing a ring, or he was supposed to wear a ring. And
Oh,
now
he
it's
was lying
revealing
the whole
that-
time. He was lying the whole time.
that's different conversation. But point is, you didn't find out that he's unavailable. All right. Same thing with gay or sexual orientation. I mean, yeah.
Okay, so let me. I got some data to bring to the forefront. This data is brought to us by Statista.com.
I'm on it too, bro. I see it.
Yep. The statistics for every race, percentage of male couples in the United States in 2019 is sorted by race of householder. 82.4% are white men.
That are what?
Are talking about male couples.
Male couples that live together. Male couples that live together that are actually gay or homosexual, whatever LBGT, whatever it may be. 82.4% are white. 6.3% are Black or African American. 6.3. I'm gonna say that again. 6.3% are Black or African American men.
Debunk.
So there again, we have debunked another trope That is another emotional rant that doesn't have any fact
And
attached to it whatsoever.
and truthfully enough, you know, to the women and if men follow the trope too, truthfully enough, I think seriously there has to be some consideration to what Bo talked about earlier, is that rather than looking within to find out what are the problems that I'm bringing to the society with regards to my baggage, and really being honest to say, I can't find a man because I'm doing something wrong. I'm incomplete. Not saying that there are men out there, 94% are not gay. 50% are already unavailable that want to be married. So it has to be a problem that somebody has to hold a mirror up and say, honestly, what is the problem with me? And that's with any relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think y'all need to work on that and start asking yourself,
Yeah,
what's the
there
problem
it
with
is.
y'all?
There it is. It's never them as the problem. And then that's why you all are the ones reciting that trope.
Yep, they all there. I'm with Thomas. Thomas said, "How can you be a good man and be incarcerated and all the other stuff?" He said, "Shoot." He trying to figure out how you
Right.
get that.
Exactly.
How you gonna be incarcerated or gay and be a good man? I hear you.
Wow.
I hear you. But yeah, pretty different.
Hey, and then just to give you the residual pushback on that is that then that's why the next trope will be, oh, they marrying white women. Well, that's the increase that you're seeing in the interracial marriage realm. A dramatic increase in intermarriage for blacks and whites.
Uh-huh. A dramatic increase.
Increase since 1980 to 2015.
Yeah,
Black interracial marriage has gone up from 5% to 18%.
yeah, we know that.
Wonder why?
Wonder why?
Yeah, man. Wonder why?
Because black men is tripping now.
Yeah, we all incarcerated. That's where we're going. We're going to jail. We're going to another man, or we're going, marrying, but marrying somebody else. And y'all sitting there talking about all the good men gone. Yeah, you're right. They gone. Going over to Leave It to Beaver.
They're going over to Marisol and Mary and
Maryberry, or what is it?
yeah.
Yeah, they gone.
Going
All right,
on.
guys. We good?
Yep.
Any other thoughts on that? Any other thoughts? We definitely want to make sure that if anybody had something to say online, jump in and interrupt me. You got something, Suzette? Anybody said?
Oh, Thomas said women just love the wrong man. Hey,
Oh,
you get no argument from that.
That is
Yeah,
true.
from me on that one.
But that'll be our fault too. So it is what it is.
No,
John K said that's right, Susan. I tell you what, y'all sisters stick together even when y'all are totally wrong. But
we have to stick together because y'all ain't got our back like y'all supposed to have our back.
That is so interesting, Bo. So interesting. Nothing but stats and data, and they still sticking to their story.
We still wrong.
Because you know what I'm saying? The stats and data can be swayed.
Okay.
It's cute.
Yeah. That's why I told you, bro. I don't do any more relationship talks. I don't do it.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I don't do
Yes,
it.
you do.
No. Y'all don't want to hear it. So I'm gonna let y'all doing great. Y'all you getting all the men you need. You getting proposals.
No,
You getting 6, 7, 8 proposals. Because y'all always talking about, well, I was engaged, so y'all done been proposed to 5 times. So everything is going great with y'all. So I just want to kudos. Y'all
doing a great job.
Y'all doing a great job. So I'm with you.
Well, we just you know what us queens we gonna do? We gonna wait on our black kings to get it together.
No.
We gonna wait on y'all. We gonna hold you down. We gonna hold y'all down like we've been doing. We gonna hold y'all down like we've been doing.
Don't wait on us because then
And there you go. There's that interracial marriage growing from 5% to 18% to in 2020 it's probably up to 25% at this point.
We still waiting.
Still wait. You wait there, and what did Kevin Simmons say? You gonna die alone.
Waiting on that eligible. I will agree. Waiting on that eligible black male. I guess we are. Yeah.
Keep wait for God to send you somebody. Keep on waiting. Keep on waiting. Keep waiting. Keep believing that. Keep on waiting. I'm just believing God. That he gonna send something. He gonna come knock on my door, and he get okay. All right. Keep waiting, and we're gonna see. Jock A, since you want to jump on here with Suzette, y'all want to be team.
That's right, girl. That's right. That's right, girl. That's all right. Well, you know what? Black females you're just gonna have to learn. We're gonna have to adapt. Okay. Evolution, Black women. We just might have to start dating outside our race, I guess.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead. All right, y'all. We got to move. With our question and answer section, the Black and the Bold. We're gonna move right into our money mindset. To give you some information about our finances, all of us need some kind of nugget or something to help us along the way. So we decided to just drop a little something in your spirit every week, something that you can focus on, maybe if it's something you haven't even done yet. So let's jump right into our money mindset. Let's jump it up. Money.
All right, family, you know what time it is. This is Dwayne Johnson officially. You know what? You see it? This internet connection is something else, boy, when I start talking about money. Hopefully we remain stable. Suzette, give me a little thumbs up or thumbs down when it does come back.
We can hear you fine, just can't see you.
Okay, you can hear me fine? Okay, I'm going to change over to another camera. All right. Hold on a sec. There we go. Okay. And that's all right. That's a battery issue on my other camera there, but I'll go ahead and change that after we get out of this segment, as long as I stay internet stable. All right. So as the OJ said, for the love of money, we're going to talk about this. All right. So last week when we talked, family, we had an interesting conversation about savings accounts, and I wanted to be a proponent of saving. And when we're talking about saving, I'm going to be talking about unorthodox, non-traditional wealth generation tactics and strategy. And so not to basically shun people away from saving your money in a guaranteed FDIC insured account, which is great for the security of your money so that there's no risk of you losing your money. However, with the big however there is that if you're looking to gain generational wealth to pass down to your kids after 50, 40 years of saving, the savings accounts of the bank are not going to get you there. And this is proven through the numbers. We did a survey of 3 different banks last week. I believe there were First Federal, Southeastern Federal Credit Union, and also the conglomerate Bank of America. And at best, we had a savings interest rate, basically what you would get as a return on your investment from the bank. The savings interest rate was 0.01% at Bank of America, and similar with the other credit unions. So that sort of goes back to, and I hate to use the word again, but debunking the theory that even credit unions are the better places to put your money for generational wealth. That's what we're talking about. So I get it. It's a great potential for being a small bank to be able to service your needs. But for generational wealth and saving for compound interest and all of that, it's not the place. All right. Even if we looked at what some people would think as far as certificate of deposits, CDs, in other words, that are definitely other avenues for investment strategies. Just want to let you know, CDs only get you a return on your investment on an annual percentage yield basis of 0.5%. So again, you're not getting but 50 cents on every $100 that you save. Likewise, in the savings account, you're getting a penny for every $100 that you save. So again, you're not going to maximize generational wealth potential in a savings account. So just wanted to kind of refresh your memory on that for those that are new to following us on this money moment. But to segue into our next topic of this, I want to actually now talk about how to separate your money. All right. This is one thing that personally we do with our business and within our account structures. And I want to share this strategy with you. You can look it up on other various platforms. Dave Ramsey talks about this. I've seen this on Minority Mindset YouTube channel, talks about money. And again, this is what we follow. I've talked to other individuals about this also. But you want to separate your money into at least 3 different accounts. Most of us typically use one account for our money management. That's fine. But to strategize for generational wealth, we need 3 different accounts, family. We need one. The first account is your typical checking account. All right. Your checking account is going to be basically where you're spending your operational money, what you're going to the grocery store for, your liabilities, such as your car payments, your insurance payments, those type things that keep your monthly budget going. All right. The second account that you want to have is a savings account. All right. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. This is not an account to get you financially free. This is a place to park your money, like that 10% that you save, for instance, in an account that is insured and is building based on your strategy and your growth goals. So for instance, if you want to save for a special occasion, to go on vacation, put it in a savings account separate from your operational. So you know exactly, I'm getting a $100 increase by saving $100 in a week. Or you can look at it as an emergency fund. Usually they talk about having about 3 times your earned income per month in a savings account as one of your lofty goals. Another reason that you would have a savings account is for your business reinvestment. So what we do sometimes is put money off to the side in our reserve account in order to reinvest that funding back into our business. All right. I would give you a little tip here also, is that each of those scenarios probably is a sub account in the savings category. So you're probably looking at 2 different versions of a savings account, depending on what that entails, such as a business and or personal gain. The third account setup, I would say, is somewhere to park your investment money. All right. We have an account set up for this where it is an automated X number of dollars on a weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever fits your goals, but a place where you can park your money on a routine, frequent basis where you're not going to touch it and it's gone and it doesn't phase you at all. So I don't care if it's $10 a month, $10 a week, whatever, put it off to the side in a different account. And mind you, most banks are not charging you for opening up various accounts. As a matter of fact, they like it. It shows activity that you have with that bank and it's building a relationship with them. All right. When we park money in this third account for investing, it's merely there parked waiting for whether you have a brokerage account, an IRA account, or basically making real estate purchases on the hefty end of that. But merely you can set up a brokerage account to invest in stocks, ETFs, and other securities of that nature. But that is coming straight out of your investment account. All right. That account is for asset purchases. And so when we talk about assets and liabilities in the future, we're going to break that down and go through the mindset of that. But going into now, a bonus fourth account is for taxes. And this is more it's more relevant to your business owners that are out there. All right. Contrary if to the personal accounts that you have, personal wages that you have, you're probably already getting taxes deducted out of your paycheck. So this may not be necessary for you. However, if you're a business person, self-employed, you probably want to park your money somewhere to reserve for taxes. All right. At the end of the day, I would just say basically make sure that you have at least 3 accounts going for you when it comes to generational wealth. That third account for investments is really where we're going to springboard in the future, talking about what investment strategies can we use. But we got to set up our account structure up first the right way. Do we have any people that had any questions or any comments on the line there?
No, I didn't see any questions or anything. That's great information, actually. I know that Calvin Barry said, how much do you really want to leave your kids? Because I work and nothing came to me for free, but I got the money in all 5 of my accounts, because when I die, I'm going to have had fun with my money.
Absolutely. And if I kind of peel through the question there and see where the essence of what he's asking, how much money do you really want to leave with the kids, and just stop it there. That's really up to you and your goals. I mean, I get where Calvin is coming from. And thank you for the statement and the question, Calvin, because he says, I work and nothing came free for me. So it's this kind of age-old traditional tactic to where we think sometimes that we had to work for money, so why not our kids? And I don't know if that's really where he's coming from, or just from the essence of the question, how much do I leave for my kids? that really is something that you're going to have to sit down with some financial calculations and determine that. There are some online calculators that can help, and we'll go over this in the future, so stay tuned. But I'll bring up basically a calculator that shows how much money that you can gain over a set period of time that you define, like 10 years, 40 years, etc., versus the interest rate that you are targeting, because nothing's guaranteed once you start getting into risk-heavy investments like stocks, and also the amount that you're putting on a frequent basis. So those factors play into hand of how much you're able to save for your kids. And so it really depends on how much you want to. One thing personally that we do is I put over whatever I can to our kids' accounts based on that structure I just went over. Being that third account, being an investment account, we have used stockpile.com as a brokerage account because they have a child custodial account there. So but therefore they can actually purchase fractional shares. But again, getting into that in the future, the main thing is that if you want to start as early as possible, because as I said, using compound interest, they have the better opportunity than we've had because they have time on their side, not knowing necessarily the age of his kids. But for instance, with my 5-year-old, man, I tell you, if we started at 5, even though we work for what we have, but there is a measure that we want to do something different this go around for our kids. If we start investing in an account for our kids, not for us, but for our kids, in addition to ourselves, we put them on a better playing field than their peers. So just keep that in mind, Calvin. You're on mute, Bo.
I also wanted to highlight the fact that when it comes to investing in the future, I think it's going to be a good idea to jump on the bandwagon like Thomas McIntyre brought up stock market and crypto. And there's something that happened in Kabul this past couple of days. We all know what happened in Afghanistan with the Taliban and etc. Something happened out there a couple of days ago. The bank shut down completely. The leaders of the bank, the presidents of the bank have fled the country, a lot of them. So a lot of these people can't even get access to their own money. But if their money would have been tied up in crypto or something like that, or even the stock market, they could have had a better opportunity of accessing their money. And so being able to diversify mutual funds, IRA, Roth IRAs, all that kind of stuff where you can jump into, and there's so many different levels to these things too. But I think just having a diversified portfolio when it comes to not just your stocks, but your real estate, your gold, your Ethereum, your stock market, your crypto. I think all of that is going to be very, very, very helpful moving forward. I know that the crypto is kind of volatile right now, but it's going to be something we're going to look into. The most secure thing will be real estate, I think. I think real estate and whole life insurance, I think those are the most secure and the most surefire way to transfer generational wealth. One keeps on giving after you're gone, which is your real estate. The other, whole life insurance, gives it to you after you're gone, but it gives it to you in a lump sum. So again, being able to diversify, having that whole life insurance, you have something they can get somewhat of a chunk when you're gone, and then they can have something to keep feeding them with the real estate when you're gone as well. And then, of course, with your crypto and with your stocks and all that kind of stuff, some of that stuff is transferable. So just being able to learn how it works, being well versed, like you said, 5 years old, bro, 5, he'll be able to retire by the age of probably 25 or 30 years old. He'll probably have $1 million in the bank or more.
That's the goal, really, to give our kids, I'm talking culturally, our kids, give them other options.
Exactly.
And really, a lot of programs and a lot of agencies or insurance companies will allow you to put your kids down as beneficiaries.
That's right.
So look into that, and you can put multiple children down. Some policies require you'll be at liberty to only put one beneficiary, but some will let you put as many and then separate it in a percentage which beneficiary gets what. So look into the details of it, and that also will help you kind of select which company to go with, depending on what benefits are available to you.
And one final comment, also make sure that with that insurance, that's a great point you brought up. Also with the insurance, also be aware of which policies will allow you to compound. There are some policies that won't allow you to have more than one life insurance policy, but there are others that will allow you to have a policy over here and a policy over here and a policy over here. So be smart, because sometimes compounding those policies is another way that you could pass on a lot of money to your children once you're gone. So yeah, I just want to add that point. But do we have anything else on the money market session?
No, just to make it a final push to say that really, structurally, just pay attention to how you're setting up your accounts. Again, if you need to rewind back, see this over and over. My email address, again, as you can see, the background there, Bridge Builder Education and Investments. But you can look us up online at bridgebuilderinvestments.com and just send us an email. You can see the email address on our website. Like I said, we're primarily a property management company. However, in the background, to fuel our property management are investments. And we have been doing this since I was in DC, since like 2008, 2009. So we're well comfortable with stock market. Matter of fact, we're making overall gains consistently for the past year ahead of the S&P. S&P on average is about 10%. And again, 10% compared to a savings account at 0.01%. So I mean, it's one of those things to where we have a future conversation about it. We'll help relieve some of those risks and those hesitancies with regards to the risk in the stock market.
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely set up your account the right way.
Yeah. Now, one more thing, Calvin, don't forget that since you have multiple children, you can also make sure that if you don't know what to give them, a lot of children that have those, what they call trust fund babies, a lot of those parents actually set up parameters for them to get the money. So they have to be a certain age. I worked with a guy, he was a trust fund baby, but he had to stay out of trouble. He had to keep a job for a certain amount of time. He had to graduate college, and then he couldn't get a portion of the money until he was 25. And then once he had to do so much with the money by the age of 30. And if he did that, then it would open up another portion of the trust fund that he can receive. So you can do it that way too, Calvin. If you don't trust that their ability to do right by the money, you can set up parameters for them to kind of have
Safeguard.
checkpoints.
Yeah,
They get those checkpoints. So when they get that safeguard in, then they can get more money like that. So that way, even in your grave, you still can have some peace about it. But just another thought. But thanks so much, brother Black. That was an excellent, awesome session, educating us on those, that financial literacy, and we need it. We need it more than we know it. But at this point, it's time for us to transition. Time is getting away from us. We got to jump right into our main topic tonight. You all saw the thumbnail. We're going to get right into our intro music, and then we're going to jump right into the main topic. Should couples go into business together? Make sure you send out your text messages. Make sure you send out your alerts. Go re-up on your juice. Go re-up on your Red Bull. Go re-up on your popcorn. We get ready to talk. We'll be back in 3 minutes. I'm a boss. Check me out.
be riding through my old hood, but I'm in my new whip. Same old attitude, but I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me, see me never do, cause they know that's the reason they gon' end up on the news clip. Audemars on my wrist, bust down. We popping bottles like I scored a winning touchdown. Remember me dead broke, look at me up now. I run my city from South Philly back to Uptown. Thank God, all these bottles I pop, all this paper I've been getting, all these models I pop. I done sold 100,000 for my album got dropped. And I'm only 23, I'm the shit that look at me, I'm a boss like my Rose. Shorty asked me for a check, I told that like no way, cause I made it from the bottom, it was never no way. And I never had a job, you know I had to sell, yeah. I'm a boss, I call a shot. I'm with the murder team, call a cop. We in the building, y'all are not. You showing the paper, you gon' ball or not. I'm a boss,
I'm a boss,
I'm a boss.
I'm a boss.
I play the shots, I call the calls. We in this, it's going down. Yeah, I'm the king that with my mother crown. I'm a boss,
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 I'm a
I
boss.
play the shots, I call the calls.
Yeah.
Hey,
Got so many shades they thought I had a lazy eye. Shorty roll me smooth as my Mercedes ride. No love, cry when only babies die. And when I go, that casket better cost 100,000. I pray to God I look my killer in his eyes. Snatch his soul out his shirt, just take him for that ride. OG is one who's standing on his own feet. A boss is one who guarantee we gon' meet. A blog dog, cause one day we gon' meet. I'ma spaz on your ass like I'm on. Or double stack, better double that. Jerry Jones money, you a running back. Herschel Walker, Bo Jack, Ricky Waters better run that dope back. Boss, and I put that on my Maybach. Now you wish you say that.
I'm a boss,
I'm a boss,
I'm a boss,
I'm a
I
boss.
play the shots, I call the calls. We in this, it's going down. Yeah, I'm the king that with my mother crown. I'm a boss,
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 I'm a
I
boss.
play the shots, I call the calls. Yeah, couple cars I don't never drive, bikes I don't never ride, crib I ain't never been, pool I don't never swim. Fool, you ain't better than I move like the president. Everything black on black, you know I be strapping. Wearing wide, up the gang, got the hood on fire. I'm a king, call me sire. You say I don't run my city, you a motherfucker. I'm a boss, you a fraud. You cross the line, I get you murdered for a call. Murder, out in Vegas, I took the law. At the fight, we watching floor, we on the floor. Yeah, scared money don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'ma take your money. I ain't never drop a dime, you ain't take nothing from me in the hood every day. Them good. Play the shots, I call the calls. We in this going down. Yeah, I'm the king that with my mother crown. I'm a boss,
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 I'm a boss, I'm a boss,
I'm a boss,
I'm a
I
boss.
play the shots, I call the calls.
Yeah.
Hey.
Maybach music.
We back, we back,
Right.
we back, we back. I'm a boss. I'm a boss. I am a boss. Listen, we're getting ready to jump into our main topic tonight. We're gonna let my brother Black go ahead and give us the introduction. Should couples go into business together? Is the topic tonight. I felt one kind of way when I first heard it. And after I started doing a little research and as started opening up my understanding, getting some real data out there, I kind of changed my position. So it's circumstantial right now, but we'll let Brother Black go ahead and give us our monologue for the night, and then we'll jump right in with our perspectives. Go ahead, my brother.
Absolutely, man. I mean, and so just to piggyback on that, again, it is circumstantial. You may feel a certain way about it, and fairly enough, there are going to be some other points of view about it also, because it is going to be dependent upon some of the things that we cover tonight. So think of it this way: we do everything together with our partner. We work, play, and support our family together. But your partner is such an integral part of your life, as it may seem. It's only natural that you want to share your business time, right? But will the extra burden of running that business together strengthen your bond, or will it tear you apart? The statistics suggest that entrepreneurial couples have a higher rate of divorce than other married people. However, there are steps couples can take to avoid this trouble and keep their marriage healthy. We also will cover an actual stat that contradicts that or strengthens that. But according to the Small Business Administration, otherwise known as the SBA, about 1 in 5 small business firms are family owned. So about 20% are family owned. But first, we must understand, why do couples, in fact, go into business together, and what are the benefits of that? We'll talk about that in a sec. Research from the Institute of the Study of Labor reveals that couples often establish a business together because one spouse, usually the female, has a limited outside opportunity in the labor market, and basically it's found that starting a business together leads to significant income gains for both spouses, especially the female, both during the life of the business and after its dissolution. So starting the business together is typically a sound investment for both spouses as human capital, and as it has an added benefit of reducing income inequality in the household in relation to female inequality standards. So what are the initial thoughts that we have about this? Should spouses start a business together? Why and why not? And then we'll get into some of the data points and the research around it. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I don't think that a couple should immediately consider this straight out the gate of marriage. I think that they should establish some parameters and kind of get to know where each other's strengths are before entering into a business relationship, especially married couples, because the marriage alone is very difficult to mesh two different people together. So I think that needs to be a little as stable as it could possibly be before you enter another area of the marriage and become business partners.
Good point.
But I think after you establish that, both of you are both business mindset, because married or not married, in order to have a successful business, you have to have the mindset for it. You have to have the desire for it. You have to know that you're going to be going into it hopefully, and everything will be successful, that you set plans and goals for. However, there are ups and downs to the entrepreneurship. So you want to make sure that both the male and the female, or the two parts in the marriage, are able to weather the storm. So yeah, I think yes, if you establish that. No, if you try the waters and it doesn't seem like it's going to be successful.
Gotcha. Okay. What's your thought, Bo, before we get into it?
I would have to kind of agree with the consensus so far. Definitely circumstantial. There are two questions I think need to be asked when you think about going into business with your partner. That question is why. Why do they want to? Why do they want to go into business together? Because I think the reasons are varying. And I think that reason is going to be the real driving force behind the success of that venture. So your question of why, and the second question I think needs to be asked is what are the benefits, for going into business? Are we just doing it because, well, I'm not going to go that far, but why are we going into business together? For what reason? I think those two things are most important to find out first before you begin to try to flesh out a business. Because there's so many other things, so many other facets that come into play when you're trying to have an agreement with a partner, or have a partnership agreement. Is basically what that is. Yes. And I think and we're going to get into it, but I think it requires a lot of due diligence to delve into the process, knowledge, you know, and making sure that you take baby steps in the very beginning to see if it's something that you can do as a team. You know, again, there's so much more we're going to bring out of this, but with that, I'm just going to leave it there. It's it's very, very circumstantial in my opinion. It's going to take two special people to go into business together.
Okay.
But most of us know.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely, as you say, agree with consensus across us three. And of course, we'll wait for any additional feedback from the family, the audience here that's streaming with us. Little backdrop, obviously, is that for those that know me, with our business, which I keep referring to in the sense of our business, which is specifically my wife and I, obviously with that statement, we are in business together. And it is a very, very unique situation. And so, as you said, Suzette, that it is circumstantial. It does depend on some parameters being set. It does depend on, you know, as Bold even said, why are you even considering this in the first place? And what are the benefits? Are we ready to deal with some of the challenges? And it takes a very special set of individuals. And what I'll go over a little bit here is, you know, really, you know, start with why you should not be in business with a couple or a spouse. And first and foremost, it can be a lack of understanding. You know, dealing with relationships, and I know we'll get into some of these questions here that we are going to pose, but even with dealing with a relationship, there's a time to set aside for working on and developing that relationship, and the same would have to take place for business. So being able to separate your personal and professional lives is a skill set in its own. Another factor is that you should not go into business together because you're seeing each other 24/7. Again, I'm going to list a number of these, and then fairly enough list a number of ways that it can work, and it does work in some cases. But you're going to be seeing each other 24/7. My wife and I see each other from sun to sundown. And in the cases of some other things that we do on the flip side that we'll talk about, that's how we mitigate some of this seeing each other 24/7. It's nothing like seeing somebody all day. When you're talking about being in business with somebody, when you're in a business partnership, perhaps, like for instance, even with our setup here, you know, this isn't a formalized business, but you know, there are times that we get together, we get in a meeting and talk about what we're going to do, but we can also separate and go on about our personal private lives. But with a spouse involved, you don't have that separation. So you have to mitigate that. Another point is that dating doesn't necessarily get to be fairy tale anymore. So you have to actually do more spontaneous items to make sure that you're keeping the love life on edge, you know, exciting. Because everything is business related. My wife and I were just talking about this yesterday, actually, that if we took a week vacation, we would still talk business at some point. It's never a vacation just to not say anything. So that's one of the cons of it if you're not ready for it. And then finally, your expectations, as this says, and I tend to agree with it in a sense, is that your expectations are rarely met. Because when you go to a job, you expect a certain demeanor in a job setting. You expect people to approach you in a certain way, but because you have a spouse that's comfortable with you, some of that goes out the window sometimes, to be honest. And sometimes you're not with staff. This is the case that we have. We don't have employees, so it is us working this business. And so in that case, you don't necessarily fire the person you don't like being around as you would if you had staff. So those are some things to think about with regard to why you would not go into business. But the next question I would ask, or the first question I would ask to you, even as the family listening, is what would be your expectations for a spouse business partner? Thoughts? Unmute yourself.
Well, okay. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and go. I think that when you are trying to enter into a business with your spouse, the first thing that needs to happen it's kind of similar to the first thing that happens in your personal relationship. It has to be some understanding and some perimeter set. I think with uh, establishing a business with your spouse, though, there is another extra level to that, like a professional level. Like you said, being that it's your spouse, you have that desire to be informal a little bit, and maybe maybe not be as vigilant as you were with a complete stranger or somebody, an outsider that you're entering into a business relationship with. Because think about it, if you're entering into a business relationship with someone else, you're going to make sure legally, legally all that, finalized. You're going to determine who has controlling interest in the business. You're going to, iron out those little bitty details. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, some of those things kind of go under the table a little bit, because it's like what's understood don't need to be said. Sometimes that take place, and you don't have every single conversation that you need to have with another business partner. So I would think that the first thing you need to do is establish, the roles of the business, determine who's going to be doing what, who is going to be having controlling interest in it, and just all the legalities. I would think that would be the first thing that you should do. Don't neglect that because that is your spouse. Make sure that you have all legally, I kind of define who does what, whose role, what will, all of that. Just make sure that legal element is tight.
Yeah, I just insert before Brother Bold may have something to say there. Calvin talks about, and I'm gonna sum it up because I'm not looking at it, but reading over it, Calvin does mention that he has a few different businesses, and even with his ex-wife that he's not with, they're potentially talking about starting a business together. And I think, Suzette, what you just said is going to be paramount for him, especially with a spouse that you're not with. I mean, you need to make sure, Calvin, that legal structure is in place. And when we say legal structure, not just the business planning, and as Suzette said, and she's right, that roles need to be defined in the business, but legally, who has the controlling arm, or is it 50-50? If there's what do they call it? Gosh, I forgot, it'll come to me later, but basically a plan for dissolution. If exit strategy is what I'm looking for. When you're doing your business planning, you're going to come to a point where it should be a definitive exit strategy for that business. And when you're talking about a spouse or an ex-spouse, there's going to be conversation. I mean, we just came out of a heated conversation with regards to child support, perhaps alimony, perhaps, half, whatever it is. But that has to be ironed out in a legal structure that's signed off between both parties.
Definitely has to be, and again, that goes in what is legally called a partnership agreement. This is something that goes down when couples actually want to go into business together, whether they're married or they're living together, what have you. Actually, the partnership agreement is always encouraged for you to sit down with a business attorney, or a corporate attorney who knows the ins and outs of business. When you ask the question, what type of person should we be looking for? You should look to go into business with. It should be someone who's business minded. It should be someone who's looking on, to have this business active and productive long term. It should be someone who, who wants to partner and understands that they don't know it all. They should be willing to partner with someone who's a strength to their weakness. There's a lot of things that should go into vetting if your partner is suitable to be a business partner. In some of the research, I found that the majority of businesses that are shared between partners, most of the time, it's to close the gender wage gap. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's because a lot of the wives want to increase their earning potential as well. And I think that, again, it needs to be a lot of due diligence on the front end to make sure, like you said, that all these safeguards and this exit strategies and all these things are put into place, so you'll know where the money's going. You will know who gets the final say in certain circumstances. For example, if Suzette has had 5 years in mergers and acquisitions, and now we're merging a company, and we get into a rut or we get into a rough spot, I need to be leaning on Suzette's, her experience, in mergers and acquisitions, and put aside, my ego, because she's got the experience. These are the type things that they can be very profitable. Partnership agreements can be very profitable, but a lot of times they go awry because most people jump into the business without doing their due diligence. And so when they hit these rough spots, they start getting into arguments. They start having all these things start to break apart and break down. And so I agree. As long as you do your due diligence to get everything out in front, kind of understand, count the cost of, of what's going to be involved, the sacrifices that are going to have to be made. And if those can be agreed upon, then put it on paper, because when you go into an agreement with your partner, especially, male-female relationships, statistics have shown that the majority of the time, there's one party that is consistent with breaking or breaching the contract. I'm going to leave it there. And so when you put it on paper, you remove all of that ambiguity when it comes to why you want to walk away. No, the paper tells us, even when it comes to certain things that happens as far as behaviors, as far as responses, you could put all that down on paper, even when it comes to core competencies and core strengths, or the things that, your five strengths, or whatever it is that are your foundations of your business. You can put that in the paperwork. So you remove all of that possibility of it going wrong because somebody did something out of the way. If you put it on paper, then you have a greater possibility of being successful. But if you do that, that's my wife, and we're doing it together. We're gonna go into business together. Yeah, we got this. We got an opportunity now. We home now. We got a PPP. We might as well go ahead and try to find something to jump in. Yeah, that probably ain't gonna work.
So in the next transition, I would add, because I'm gonna piggyback on a lot of things that you both have just said, primarily with regards to, like, you hinted on skill sets and things being, structured as far as the roles before, Suzette and Edward, that you've said. This has come from basically Inc.com. 5 questions to ask, ask yourself if you're considering going in business with a spouse. One is your spouse qualified for the position? And so with that in mind, if you're developing a company and you just basically want to create a role for your spouse, just for the sake of, as you talked about, with regards to compensating one end or the other, so that they're getting a fair share of profit, but they don't necessarily bring anything to the table for that role, that's a recipe for disaster. Because you're going to find yourself, as I said before, and one of the reasons why you would not is because the expectations are going to never be met. They're rarely going to be met in that case, because you don't have the skills, or the other person doesn't have the skills to qualify themselves for that position. Another question is, do you have good communication with your spouse right now? And so this goes back to just mere relationship habits. Do we have trust and healthy communication? Because if you do not have that trust and healthy communication in your personal lives, it's only going to magnify and get worse in business. Because the way it plays out in business is that you've got to be forthcoming, you've got to be trustworthy, you've got to be able to do conflict resolution, because all of that is going to rear its head when we're talking about money and business. The third item is, are you inviting your spouse into your business to save the marriage? And again, you kind of hinted around this, Bold, with regards to just bringing somebody in because your marriage is drifting apart. So you want to save your marriage and let's go into business together. This is a lifeline basically at this point. I mean, there's no evidence that proves as to why you all should go into business. And I think that's enough said on that point from me anyway. But 4 is, do you enjoy being with each other all the time? I talked about this before, is that's anywhere that you're going to find is that one of the disadvantages or setbacks that you're going to have to deal with is 24/7 relationship. And of course, because of the roles, you perhaps don't see them literally 24/7, but it's definitely going to be more than just if that spouse had a day job or you had a day job, and you see them when they get home after 5. There's time to rekindle. There's time to, I missed you, and how's your day type thing. It's very little of that in those shoes. So fortunately, if you have that type of relationship where you are committed, there are roles defined, and you have qualifications, then there's really no resentment towards the other person when you see them all day long. The final thing is, do you have the same mindset for success? That's one of those to where, again, it's subjective to the point to where success is defined by you as an individual and you as a team. I would just say that, as to wrap all of that up, that one way that we've been successful as a married couple in business is because literally most people don't even know that we've been working together since 2004 when we met. So we literally have been managers since that time. So walking into property management together, we both qualify. We've worked together all through our careers in corporate America. So seeing each other 24/7 is not much different. And the communication patterns are pretty much similar. Yes, we have our hiccups. Yes, we have our conflicts. But again, because we respect each other on the level of professionalism and what each other brings to the table, that's where a lot of that can get fleshed out in a very respectable manner, or we ease it down to the point to where we move forward. You have to kind of lean on those relationship tactics also, because you are dealing with your spouse. So anyway, the next question I would ask to you both and to the family, let me pause to see if we had any feedback just to make sure I'm not skipping anybody. Gosh, low there. All right. All right. So again, Calvin mentioned that the last thing that I see here basically is that, a couple of episodes that Calvin said that the person that he's talking about, that she's still his best friend, and even though they're not together, and I'm never home, that's our problem. So he has to deal with the fact that he's never home. So that's a different dynamic. And so everything's different for everybody. And that's what I mean. It is kind of circumstance based. But next question is, if you can't agree on roles or even when to submit, who's going to submit in a marriage, how can you agree in business? And it's really rhetorical there. But if you're having problems in your relationship, how are you going to not have problems in business? I know it's probably a quick, easy answer there, but any thoughts on that before we move on?
Well, yeah, Brother Black.
Okay.
As I was doing some research, I was trying to look for the positive top points on why people should enter into a marital business partnership. And one of the things, or one of the consistent things that I kept seeing was keep a level of professionalism between, even though your spouses, keep a level of professionalism, because that separates all the emotions and all that stuff. You're there for a job. You're focused on the success of the business, and it kind of takes the emotion out of it. So I thought that was very important. If you're going to enter into a business relationship, keep it professional. No slang talk, no I'm mad at you from the last night kind of thing, dragging that over into that. It's just messy that way. I think that keeps all the pettiness out of the business relationship. And it also, I think it fosters respect, not only amongst yourselves, but if you want your patrons or people that patronize you to take you seriously, they're going to come in and they're going to see this power couple being respectful of each other and very professional. I think that's going to reinforce them why they should choose you, or choose whatever business, or choose any dealings with you. So I think it's a win-win for you as a spouse to be professional with each other, not only for your relationship, but also for the people that you're trying to service or serve.
Yeah, my response to that would be, if you can't agree on roles or who's going to submit, I don't think you should go into business.
Absolutely.
I think at that particular point, it shows, those parties' level of insecurity, their level of being irresponsible, their level of being able to be dependable, etc. I mean, there's a lot of character traits that can be signified as flaws when you have someone who can't even, kind of adjust into their regular roles in a relationship. I think it's almost crazy to then think that your partner, they can't be the woman or the man they need to be. How are they going to be the business partner they need to be? I don't think you can't turn it on and off, circumstantially, and then think that you're going to be successful when you decide. No, business is hard work. Actually, when you create a business, you're creating another job for yourself. And so there's nowhere in the world I want to have a job as a relationship and then a job and then having another job with a bad relationship, with a bad that. So if we can't establish our roles in our relationship, there's nowhere in the world I'm going to even think about going into business with you. Absolutely not.
All right. And I would say, just to segue into that, I mean, just to quickly go into the next question and give it some of the same flavor, is that, let's say, okay, you can't establish roles. And what if you have two alpha personalities in business? How does that work? I mean, again, we know how it has to work, but are two individuals that are alpha personalities willing to work it out?
That's another one that won't work. And I know there's a lot of talk running around about wanting to be the boss and wanting to be partners, and partners indicates that there is no leader. And that's another attempt to redefine.
That sounds good.
That's another attempt to redefine relationships, marriage, etc., and the dynamics. But truth of the matter is, every organization has a leader.
Yeah.
Point blank. Every organization has a point person. And so if it gets to a particular situation where the both of y'all are so-called alpha, you're not going to do anything but bump heads, because alphas are hard-headed people. Alphas are, they're going to stand on what they believe in, and it's going to take some convincing to get them off. Who wants to be in an office with someone every day fussing about coming to an agreement on everything? Absolutely not. Two alphas won't work.
You have an excellent point. It is realistic because, again, I will say from experience that it is a challenge. In our business, we are self-driven manager types, leaders in our own right, and we both can grab the bull by the horns. So, needless to say, there is a case that we are two alpha types in a business relationship. And I'll tell you, to your point, and it goes back to even the comment that Calvin Berrien makes here, is that I believe no one should submit, just get an understanding. My response to that, though, is that at some point somebody has to submit. And I think that goes back to what Brother Bold is saying, is that it doesn't work in the two alpha personality setup if no one submits, because you're going to constantly be butting heads, as he just said. The way that we operate is that at some point, roles are set up, roles are set up. And based on roles, if she knows better than I do on a certain measure, I'm going to let her take the lead on that, or have the final say on that. If I'm going to be the one that knows better on that, and I state my case, and that's how we're going to leave it, then that has to be it. I will tell you also, the setup from the beginning has to be considered when you talk about, as Calvin said, if you're not in the LLC, you're not anything. And so when we set up our company, someone's got to be the CEO. So whether you got alphas or not, someone's got to be the leader. And at the end of the day, if there's a conflicting point, and we're going to say that the way that we deal with this conflict is that, as we talked about last week, or at some point, that there has to be a president of the relationship. And it's good. And of course, again, in order to level the field of conflict, because it will arise no matter what personality types are there. And if you have somebody that's not going to challenge the one who's in charge or has the final say, or the CEO, the manager, whatever, then that is a big risk too. Because I tell you, there are times when my partner, she is asking me questions that are challenging, or makes a statement or a case that's challenging, and there's a point for me to consider. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely worth it to have that other counterpart. And I think that's one of the big benefits of working with the spouse is that you've got that alter ego with you working in tandem. But as Suzette said in the very beginning, is that you take it slow. That's something that you got to determine over time that, yes, I would like to go into business. Remember, we met in 2004. We didn't start our company to our LLC into 2009, but we didn't start operating other than just investing in real estate, but we operated in 2015 as a couple.
Yeah.
So over 10 years before we decided, yeah, let's work together.
Yeah.
And we'll get into some of the other things that are positive also, because Suzette just reminded me on that, and Daryl list of things. But yeah, I mean, that's Suzette. Did you have anything to say on that with regards to alpha personalities?
Well, it does sound like a recipe for disaster, but even with two alphas, if you establish what the roles are in the very beginning, I mean, you can't argue with that. You can't stray from that, because one of the things I think that makes you a good alpha is that you're very consistent and you're very strong on sticking to what your word is, or sticking to integrity. So for lack of a better term, I think that's what makes a good alpha, is that you have a strong level of integrity about yourself. So once you establish that in the very beginning, as an alpha person, you're not going to stray from it. You're going to respect whatever terms you set out from the very beginning.
Yes. So the next point is some of the positive here. I mean, basically, how do you maintain a business together successfully? And again, some of this stuff we've already talked about. And I think that's naturally that, you two have added in the conversation here that really struck some of these points already, such as planning well. Make sure that you know how the business is going to work. Plan before you just get up and say, hey, we're going to just start a business. Let's figure this out first. I mean, in any business, it should not be a rush. Usually you need to develop that business plan in general, but when you're dealing with a spouse, that's another layer that you need to plan effectively. Schedule work-free couple time. This is just now, based on couples going into business. There has to be a real vacation time. You need it because, again, you've been around each other for 24/7. So these are pretty much going to be the flip mitigation plans for all of the negative potentials that we mentioned in the beginning, but in concert with the 24 hours seeing each other, a realistic point of view, you have to schedule work-free time, even though you might text a work vendor or whatever, but it just has to be scheduled time. You have to identify strengths and weaknesses for your roles. And I think we've clobbered that point, which really speaks to the fact that that's probably the most important factor there. Yeah. Is that you need to be able to determine and respect, as Suzette just said, respect each other for what you're strong at. I think both of y'all talked about that as far as the strength. For instance, with our business as an example, Amanda is very strong with dealing with vendors. She used to stand up buildings in the DC area for our defense company. She used to lead programs that were IT related. I, on the other hand, dealt with customers more so. And we both dealt with customers, but on this end, that's my strength. As you know, Brother Bold, I'm more of the out in the community involved person. So it's more natural that I'm going to do the networking for our business. I'm going to do the business development for our business and seek growth opportunities. That's just how we operate. And that's kind of been one of those things that has ironed itself out over time. And even though you define roles in the beginning, be aware that that can evolve. Your vision for the company. Not only do you need to have a great plan, but somebody has to be the visionary. For us, that's me, and also taking into consideration of what outsiders are saying, as far as mentors that, are in places that you want to be, where you want to grow, where you want to explore. All of us as spouses that are in business together need to have some sort of awareness of the vision that we're going, because if we're walking two different directions based on two different visions, again, recipe for disaster. And the final thing is trust, which is another big one, like respect. If you don't have trust in a marriage, then it's pretty much going to be impossible that you're going to have the same or any capacity for that in a business. Yeah. And again, if you got this person that you ask them to do a task and it's not done, There is leniency for obviously reminding people because you know that your spouse probably has these kind of challenges, if you will. But if you can't trust them wholeheartedly, especially with money, and that's the big thing. If you can't trust somebody with money and they're your spouse and you're talking about going in business with them, I mean, that's a problem. So you got to ask yourself some important questions, but there are some ways to mitigate some of these negative concepts in the way that you operate your business. I turn it over to y'all as far as, how do y'all feel about that?
I think those are good points. I think those are some things that definitely need to be considered. I think this is a move. I really believe that this is the move that's going to allow. This is something that's been going on in the upper middle class and the upper echelons for years, for decades. Most men, especially single men that are financially stable and are businessmen, a lot of times when they get into relationships, they actually hire or create a business for their spouse or for their girlfriend, because this allows them to have more freedom to be available for the relationship or for the marriage. But it also allows them to bring forth their talent, bring forth their individuality, so that they can kind of be celebrated for whatever it is that they like to do or whatever it is they're endeavoring to do. I think business partnerships are wonderful. I do some of my research. I also found that this is how a lot of couples are getting married, through business partnerships instead of going the traditional route. They're actually getting married with business partnerships because it actually gives it creates a more level playing field when it comes to assets being divided, etc., things like that. It takes out all of the possibility of you being dragged through the system without having somewhat of a say so. So I like business partnerships. I think they're great, but again, I think we have to take those measures, those preemptive measures like you shared with us, to make sure we're getting in business with the right person, the right person with the right kind of talents and the right mind frame to be successful in business. So I'm down with it as long as it's the right person.
Any thoughts on that, Suzette?
Yeah, I concur with everything that's been said so far, surprisingly.
Well, here's the
Right.
next question. And before we get into the
It's not gender.
go ahead, excuse me.
I'm just kidding. It's not gender based. And that's what makes it so wonderful about being business partners, that a lot of it does clear up some of the gray area, because it is about business. It makes it a little bit more, black and white. But a lot of the positivity about it is some of the tips that were shared was, make sure that you do create some time to have the spousal, the romantic, the side of it. Don't let it all be about business. You do have to create some time to have some intimacy, some relationship building time with your partner. So that's one of the things that, as a female, that I would be concerned about, that it will be a little lopsided at times. So when I was researching, that was a lot of the advice. If you're going to do it, you got to make sure you make time for your marriage.
Absolutely. I would even say, you just made me think about it. I have it in some of my personal notes here, is that we talked about trust, we talked about money, and as you said, intimacy. When entrepreneurs experience these cash flow problems, sex lives decrease. And since money and sex, intimacy are two of the main causes for divorces, you got to be a little concerned about that if you're talking about going into business together, because there are going to be some conflicts. And if you're bad with money, or both of y'all are okay with money, either you need to have someone that you've farmed out to do something with your money, such as an accountant, CPA, because as the money goes dwindling or goes awry and nobody can answer for it, so does the sex life, and so does the marriage. So it's pretty much a correlation that can take place. One of the final things that I'm going to ask before we get into some of the research on it is, would a modern woman's, and this is the stab here, is would a modern woman's "I don't need a man" mentality get in the way of sustaining a successful business? And then I'm going to follow it back to the men, is that if you have a domineering, my way or the highway or whatever, is that going to sustain a successful business? What say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go against the grain. It's gonna be great. I mean, hey, I told you our black women are doing well. I mean, they're excelling. I mean, they're making strides in all arenas of industry. And so, hey, if it's one of those situations where she doesn't need us, then I encourage her to go on and be successful alone. Yeah. Yeah, that's my response.
That sounded like a very empty. Very, it wasn't very believable at all. But you know what? We're gonna let you have that. We're gonna let you have that.
Just as a side, I'm sorry, I just want to say, because Calvin mentioned something, I want to make sure he hears what I was asking. He did say a comment that's not true, DJ. So I was asking him what was the challenge that he wants to bring to the table. And if you would, Calvin, just restate basically what I said that you feel is inaccurate or not true or that you disagree with, and just type it in. But go ahead, Suzette. I apologize.
No worries. I definitely want to get our viewer Calvin. His statement is important. His views are important. So we definitely want to make sure that we rectify that or address that appropriately. But yeah. So no, I don't think that I don't need a man type of woman or a domineering man is a recipe for a good successful partnership, because you enter it in already with preconceived notions of how things are going to work out. Although I consider myself an alpha female, but I just feel like that roles have to be addressed in the very beginning. So if she doesn't need a man, why would she even consider entering into a partnership, a business with him in the first place? And if a man is so, domineering, why would he want to, establish a business relationship? So no, that would be a big no. Don't do it. Save yourself some heartache.
I will add that, and this is a segue to some of the research. I will say that, let me see if I can find it here. In the measure of control, where is that on that document? Hold on a second. So on the flip side of everything that we talked about, and as Calvin is responding to that, perhaps I did see where he said that he really didn't have a whole lot of problem with it, no challenge, but he was just stating that you can go into business with your wife. Trust me, I know. And I think probably because we're kind of swaying back and forth with the yes, it can work or no, it can work. All of these are based on, really the dynamics of the relationship, Calvin. So we're not saying that it cannot work. Absolutely. I mean, I would say the same thing that you say. Trust me, I know it can work. So just to clarify that, that's what I'm trying to do here. But back to some of what you said, Suzette, there, with the control part of that I'm bringing into the measure, is that from, let's see, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill research paper, its conclusions were that gender inequality does exist in the distribution of control, which is likely because of the spousal team up. That does rear its head in, you're talking about two spouses are going into a business together. That's something that I think that couples have to be aware of, that could potentially be a factor.
Yeah. So do you guys think I don't need a man, woman? Y'all think y'all need to would y'all enter into a business relationship with that type of woman?
No, absolutely not. I think what you said before, or Bowles said, but I think we're all saying the same thing, is that none of these absolutes work well. If you don't need a man, I mean, the logic that was stated, if you don't need a man, then why are you considering business with the man? So that mentality it's just one of those things to where we see a lot of women spousing that when we're scrolling. And so if there is a hesitancy with independence, then that's a recipe for disaster if you're talking about getting into business with that counterpart. Because at some point, I believe, based on the trajectory of most of the small businesses are women-led firms, and the fact that what I say, like a quarter of the small businesses that are reported by SBA are family-run businesses, and a majority of the Black businesses are female-run. That has a lot to be considered. I don't know their story that I can speak on, but if we have any of them that's saying, I'm independent, I have my own money, I'm a boss, but then at some point you get married, how does that play into it? That's kind of where I'm going, because at that point you've decided to get married, but you've already spouted that I'm independent, I have my own.
Again, there's definitely no, I don't think that there is any statistics to back up that particular scenario. But again, a boss, a female boss, she could relinquish, some of the reign, some of the throne, for the right man, I'm sure. But it would have to be established again, because you're entering to a business, especially if the woman consider herself successful prior to the marriage. She doesn't want to jeopardize that, just merely alone off the fact that he's my spouse now. You know what I'm saying? He has to show some potential. They have to show potential together, that business relationship is even gonna even work, because the formula that had been working for her, apparently, that would be upset by adding another partner to it. So, it would be it definitely have to be a lot of negotiating on the front end.
Did I hear you say something about that women were in business more?
You did hear that. You
Yeah.
heard that correctly.
Okay, I wanted to be sure before I gave a rebuttal. That's true, but most women that are businesses and call themselves bosses are sole proprietorships. That are those
And
businesses
that's
are
the
usually,
challenge, right?
those businesses are usually lifestyle businesses, like body slimming tea or waist trainers or stuff like that. So that's the majority of the entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial pursuits of women. Sole proprietorships that are not bosses. You're not paying anybody's salary. You don't have anybody on your payroll. You're a sole proprietor. And so a lot of times I think when we look into businesses, we need to look into things that are much greater than that. Especially when you look into something that's going to be long-term. A lifestyle business is something that's going to shift to the seasons. So again, all this negotiation will probably be restructuring your business to something that's more data proven, something that's more scalable than just a lifestyle business. And so yes, you all are in business more than men, but your business is yourself. It doesn't include a lot of people. And so I think that's where to get back into revamping and kind of revisiting your skills and how your skills can affect and can be valuable to the group and not just to yourself. So all those degrees you have, all of those certifications that you have, given this market, this current environment that we're in, we are in a perfect environment for partners to get together and start businesses and bring those professional skills that you have together to create real business and not just these lifestyle entrepreneurial pursuits that are kind of hit or miss. So
I know that Suzette is chomping at the bit on that one. I would just want to say that I would definitely, from a ValdosToBlackOwned.com standpoint, I do see a lot of female businesses that are literally, like you just described, quote unquote lifestyle businesses, whether it's hair, makeup, you can go down the gamut of it. It's not service oriented business. Right. Even with yours, Suzette, that's a professionally driven business that is scalable. So I definitely would welcome the challenge that Bold has. But what do you have to say about it?
Well, first of all, those businesses are real businesses. They're not trying to grow up to be a real boy like Pinocchio. And I think that even with those life skills, because that industry is so volatile, I would even argue to say that they are more of an asset, because when you have lifestyle businesses, as you deemed it, those are trendables. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who has any lasting equity or longevity or, in that particular business, they have survived the highs and lows of the trends. But we all know that those industries are multi-billion-dollar industries. Multi-billion-dollar industries.
when
I don't
when
think
they're when they're
I don't think
business
they're going
driven, they are. When they're business driven, they are. So if you take like the Bronner brothers, they've been around for decades. That is a business entity, and the problem is that most businesses fail within the first 3 years. And when you look at something, even from a Valdosta perspective, we have a lot of micro businesses that are pretty much side hustle businesses. And I think that's one of the things that, I get the fact that you're, pushing back on what Bowles said, challenging whether or not they are real businesses or not. But the fact of the matter is they're micro businesses because the business owner may or may not have an actual, I won't say license, but LLC or sole proprietorship filing on hand. Because I see a lot of times people posting their state secretary paperwork, and I'm like, you've been calling yourself a business the whole while. So anyway, so they just acquired it, which is growth, which is fine. But the other thing I would point out is that when you say that these are trend businesses, they also are the ones that are most susceptible during these times like COVID. These are the businesses that can't survive because they don't have a business foundation. They did not go to school in your case, you're in the medical field, you're in the medical business also under your own structure. But some of these are really side hustles that they did not go to school for. We have a lot of people, and not to take away from anything, but we have a lot of people that all of a sudden want to do, I hate to call folks out, but insurance or business consultation, but they did not go to any business school or have a career in the business field. And they're doing these things really not to knock, but it is a side hustle. And the hopes is that it grows and it works out. But those trends are made by definition to fade away. That's why it's called a trend, not a pattern. So
I agree. And I'm speaking to those businesses who outlast trend after trend after trend, because there are some out there. But I mean, even by your definition, even those businesses that are a little more scalable, that you can track, even they are susceptible to not being able to last. So I think it goes back to the actual individual, and really back to our topic again, going into a marriage based business relationship, you still have to invest in your business. Wherever, even if you start out with some of these, more trendier ones, you still have to invest if you want sustainability. You can't start out. I mean, look at, you gave us your timeline, Brother Black, you know what I'm saying? You've solidified and reinforced your business since 2004. You're not still practicing in the same way you were in 2004. You know what I'm saying? You reinvested in yourself. Your wife reinvested. Y'all combined skills. You evolved over time. So no business is definitely going to come out today and still operating in the same way 10 years later and think, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it to 10 years. And if you gotta evolve, you gotta reinvest in yourself. You got to, especially like you said, depending on what industry you go in. Me in the healthcare field, as well as the educational field, I do know about those two, and possibly I feel like every field, but those two particular, we have continued education that we have to do in order to keep our certification going. But I feel like that's in every industry. You have to continue to reinvent
but
yourself.
it's not. I would just say that it's not, though, because when we talk about the micro businesses, that's where it's very few and far in between where people are actually getting as you say, the continuing education. I definitely agree with you is that has to happen. But for instance, being associated with the Chamber of Commerce, a few years ago and several before that, as a constituent and a board member, very active with the education. My wife was the Labor and Education Workforce Chair. We saw very little Black businesses coming to any of the education seminars, business 101, how to start a business. Very little, and that's the way I say is that it's one thing to start a business and even compounding that with your spouse, but even foundationally, somebody has to go and continue the education of that skill set, of that passion, and build upon it. And that's where I would just challenge that we're not doing a great job of that, even if we want to say that we want to be in business with our spouse. We've got to do the extra leg work and take advantage of the fact that if you're in business with your spouse, at least one leg can go get continual education.
Well, I think that highlights to what we talked about earlier when we brought this particular situation up, and I think it goes back to that, is being able to choose a business that is scalable, a business that is something that you can find your niche in the marketplace that is needed amongst other businesses in your market. That's different than getting a Slim & Tea or hair or
what that's called, Brother Bold? In the very beginning, during the business plan phase, before you even start the business plan, it's a feasibility study.
Exactly.
And that's what most businesses, they, like you just said, and like we called them accurately, it's a lifestyle business, it's a niche, it's a trend, as you said, Suzette, and it's not backed up by feasibility study because it's the next best thing that somebody saw somebody else doing.
Right. I think that's why that's kind of trickling over to why we haven't been seeing a lot of people of color in these meetings, is because a lot of the times when we're really jumping into real business, it's going to require you to have a real network. It's going to require you to have a real skill. It's going to require you something that you can again scale, something you can actually come to the table and say, hey, I have a real trade, or I have a real skill or real value to bring to your company. Then at that particular point, I think that's a whole nother level of business outside of let's go on here and start a drop shipping business off of Amazon. That's a big a whole different feasibility study. Now, when it goes to real business, now it's like, how can I impact the local chamber of commerce with a real business? Because when you're going into those rooms, an entrepreneur is going to be viewed very differently than someone who is a tenured professional. And so that professional is really going to get that they're going to get that energy or that insight. Or people are going to want, really want to do business with someone who has traceable history of being successful in business, outside of somebody that's started a drop shipping and got a website and they selling all kind of products from Japan on a website. That's a huge different situation. So
yeah. No, I mean, but you're relevant though, because that's what needs to take place. And I know it's still trying to tie it back into the topic, is that when you're talking the longevity, the trust, the faith, the push, it has to take place from a level to where, as you said, Suzette, that we've gone through a decade and plus doing business together, but you cannot be impatient with that growth. You cannot be impatient with that scalability. Like you said, Brother Bowles, that it takes someone that's going to do the networking, establish themselves as a viable business in the area, to make sure that people know that you're here to stay, that you have proven yourself. Not just because you say that you're a good business, that's to prove itself over time. And back to the subject matter is, do we have the patience for our spouses to be a part of that journey? Male or female, this is not pointing the finger either way. Is the male going to say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to pull triggers. I'm going to make this thing happen. And the female is like, no, we can't do that. Or the female is like, you ain't bringing enough money in or whatever. I thought this was going to work. I mean, it's room for all kinds of discussion if you don't have the right partner involved.
Right. Absolutely. I totally agree. I
agree.
I just think
I agree too.
But I think that is a new move again for us to begin to create business, for us to begin to understand the importance of cooperative economics. I think it goes back to something else for us to realize that if we're going to be viable business owners, we got to remember that if we're going to be a business owners, to establish partnerships, your partner must see value in what you bring to the table.
Yes.
It's got to be something in exchange. It's got to be something that you can do for me. If I partner with you, what am I going to get out of this? And if we start doing business like that and presenting ourselves like that and doing mergers and acquisitions like that, then we're actually viable businessmen and women. We actually have a service and a product that we can scale, that we can grow, that we can pass along, that's something that's legit. I think that's our next move when you start talking about, family wealth. You start talking about pass along generational wealth. One wealthy thing that we need to pass along in our community is the ability to work together in business. And if we could do that, especially with husband and wife or partner or whatever, I think that would be a game changer when it comes to us doing real business, not internet business, real business, i.e. having positions, having leadership roles in chambers of commerce, in the Lions Club and places like that, Kiwanis Club, where you are a mover and shaker, when you are valuable to the group, not just your household. I think that's when we get to the point where we're doing real business, where we can go out in the community and we can see all these people who got the money and these people of other races, when they want to do business with us, it means we have value. And I think that's what we need to start moving to.
Let's give a shout out to Joseph Moore. He came back in. Of course, we know he's busy in his field. He said he missed out on some of the info, but had to hop off. And he says, what I can tell you is that from my experience with growing a business with multiple partners and alphas, basically personalities, is that chain of command has to be established. Absolutely, Joseph. I mean, I know if he's even talking with the Kings, the Kings United Foundation, that's a group that's doing great work, heavy lifting, but it's a bunch of alpha personalities in the room. So he has to make sure that chain of command is in place. And everyone has to, he capitalizes that everyone has to bring the same high energy and motivation to the table. So when we're talking partnerships with the spouses or just traditional partners, that has to be brought to the table, that high energy. The final thing that he says is that I think in terms of the journey that I mentioned earlier, the journey is such a key statement that it's not a 40-yard dash. You're not going to get successful in business just because you thought it was a good idea and it is something that popped off during this time, but it may not be sustainable, because I tell you, the city and the county, they have ways to weed you out if they want to. Ask Big Nick. And that ain't no secret. Big Nick has had a journey. He's survived, he's moved, he's shifted, he's back in the game with those that may have in the past tried to push him out, but he's been smart about his business tactics and he's surviving. He's got a story to tell also. And I think that's part of what, we talked about before, is that, if we can bring on some of these other assets that we have in our community to share their story and pick their brain with regards to success, whether it's relationships, business, whatever, that will go a long way for us. The final thing that I want to add with regards to this is a 5-year study of around 5,000 couples conducted, by the Brittany Solomon and Joshua Jackson Washington University in St. Louis. By Brittany Solomon and Joshua Jackson of Washington University in St. Louis, found that a spouse's personality affects that career or that business. All right, we covered that. The main thing in their research that they uncovered was this term called the conscientious person. And what that means is that person fosters success wherever they go. They're very aware of the space they live in and what needs to be done to foster success. It's characterized by a tendency to be organized and dependable, attention to detail. Conscientious people notice and support their spouse by helping them complete day-to-day tasks. The conscientious person encourages habits like reliability and helps others to reduce their overall stress. Case in point, if one person in the business relationship, spousal relationship, has a heavy load that day, that other person is willing to step in no matter the role in order to reduce the stress of that person in order for them to overall be successful. They are most likely also, conscientious person, to be promoting a healthy work-life balance. In the case that I just mentioned, one person can't be totally drained out. And we got to be able to notice that in a spousal relationship, because at the end of the day, we talked about, healthy lifestyle beyond the work environment. Is that if you got a spouse that's drained out, and you're talking about vacation next week, vacation ain't gonna be nothing but sleep all the time, evidently. And there goes that intimacy. We talked about Suzette. That's going downhill. The main thing that we talked about before is human capital and reducing the income inequality. But there is a case to be made, going back to the initial monologue, is that their study found that couples that open businesses together are no more or less happy than other couples, and they are no more or less likely than their counterparts to separate, divorce, or even have children, for that matter. So really, any narrative that is out there that it doesn't work with a spouse can be debunked if you're doing it the right way, and it takes a special couple to do it. And I don't have the answers to answer what type of couple you're paired with, but for business, it may not be the best thing to do, and it may be the best thing, but you're going to have to work on it. And as Joseph talked about, it's a journey. It's going to take time.
Yeah, I will say that some of the examples that I have seen of successful marital business partners, it is a beautiful thing to see. And when it's successful. So, I just think that you got to know that you got to put the work in if that's your goal. So, yeah, but I think it can happen. And when it does happen, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I think that it is a beautiful opportunity for couples to really go into business together. I think it should be the goal of every couple, because some studies show that it does increase the bond. It gives you a deeper depth in your bond. It gives you another reason to work together and to be there for each other. So I definitely encourage it. It's something that I'm looking forward to doing with my next wife, next partner, whatever. And I definitely want to make sure that we get an opportunity to do it, because when all of this laying off and all what's happening in our job market now, why not bring those skills that we've made other people rich and put them in our own business? Why not do that? I mean, we can trust ourselves with someone else's company. Why can't we trust ourselves with our own?
There you go.
And pay ourselves. So I'm down with it. I think it should be every couple's goal to go to work together, because we need to find something to glue our family back together. So why not do it in business? So I'm down for it, and I encourage everybody to at least give it an option, look into it. It'll also help you choose better too. It'll help you choose better partners. While you're out vetting potential partners, it'll add something else to say, can I do business with them? Yeah, they fine. Yeah, they tall. Yeah, he got all the money. He got all the muscles. He got a nice car. Yeah. But can I go into business with him? I think that's going to be the question that's going to help us out. So yeah, I'm down with it. Great opportunity.
All right, so we close out then. Let's close it out.
All right. Well, listen, we want to thank everybody for logging on with us tonight. Listen, if you did not hit the like button, please hit the like button on your way out. It definitely helps with the algorithm. It helps others find certain content and topics that are similar to ours. So we want to make sure that we're right along with the rest of them, getting that visibility with the rest of these podcasters out here all across the globe. But again, we want to thank you all tonight. Thank you for an awesome show. Thank you for everybody who logged on, everybody who commented, everybody who liked the page, everybody who shared. Listen, we can't do this without y'all. We so appreciate everything that you all have done for us. Listen, I've got two amazing co-hosts on tonight, and I just want to say thank you to the Black and to the Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for researching. Thank you for allowing us me to say some things to get on your nerves and to make you laugh and all and everything in between. But we're going to close out with our motivational section, and it goes a little something like this. The quote says, "The question isn't who is going to let me. The question is who is going to stop me." Let me say that again. The question isn't who is going to let me. The question is who is going to stop me. There's a quote by a man by the name of Brian Tracy that says, "The greatest human quality is that of becoming unstoppable." and you become unstoppable by refusing to quit no matter what happens. In high school, we had a coach, Coach Milt Miller. He was our new coach in 1992 as we were getting ready to embark upon our high school football career. And he came with a mantra that stuck with us until the time we left. It even sticks with me today. There was a picture that he posted up in the locker room during our football summer camp when we were reporting. And the picture was a stork that had a frog in its mouth, but the frog had his hand around the neck of the stork. And the picture basically says at the bottom, never give up. I don't care what goes on in your life, you should never give up. The frog was hopping along on the pond, hopping along near the bank. The stork saw an opportunity for dinner. The frog never saw the stork coming. The stork swoops down out of the air, grabs the frog off the lily pad, and flies over to the riverbank. As the stork is struggling to swallow the frog decides, I'm not giving up even in this situation. So the frog reaches his hand out of the mouth, wraps it around the stork neck and tells the stork, if you're going to swallow me, it's going to take you a minute because I ain't giving up. I wonder how many people that are watching this live tonight that have dreams, that have aspirations, have something you want to do, but life seems to always try to swallow you. Every time you try to do something great, something bad happens. I remember my mother saying, every time you try to rob Peter to pay Paul, something's always going on. But I want to encourage you all tonight that your dreams are unstoppable. Your goals are unstoppable. The thing that you want to do, it definitely can happen. But you're not going to realize your greatest human quality until you feel like you want to give up. So I encourage you every day that you wake up, tell yourself, I'm undefeated. Tell yourself, I'm insurmountable. I'm indomitable. I'm impregnable. I'm inconquerable. I'm unbeatable. I'm invulnerable. I am bulletproof. Because whatever it is I desire to do, it will happen. I don't care what's happening in your life. Don't let the stork swallow you whole. Your life ain't over. It's just beginning. But you've got to get to the place to tell yourself, I can't give up now. Go after your dreams. Go after what you desire. Make it happen. Because the question is, who isn't going to let me? The question is, in this season, who's going to stop me? I'm destined for greatness. So are you. We love you. We'll see y'all next week. Find something to do and then do it with everything you have. Until next time, peace. We out.
This is something like the Holocaust. Millions of our people lost. Bow our heads and pray to the Lord. Till I die, I'm fall. Now who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh? Black cars, black on black, black bras. Whole lot of money in a black bag. Black strap, you know what that's for. Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me, huh? Yeah, who gon' stop me? No brakes, I need State Farm. So many watches, I need 8 arms. One neck, but got 8 charms. Who gon' stop me, huh? Niggas talking, they dicks made. Ixnay off my Ixnay, that's pig Latin. Ix-bay. Who gon' stop me, huh? Last night ain't go so well. Got kicked up at the hotel. Got a little freaky like Marvin now, but yes, tell how it co-sell. You just a commentator, if you getting paper. Everybody I know from the hood got common haters. In some relations, you just supposed to say none. Heard she off the door, man, well that's cool, I booked the waitress. Heard Yeezy was racist, well I guess it's someone basis. I only like green faces.
This is something like the Holocaust. Millions of our people lost. Bow our heads and pray to the Lord. Till I die, I'ma fall. Now who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh? Who gon' stop me? Who gon' stop me, huh?
Black cars, black on black, black bras. Whole lot of money in a black bag. Black strap, you know what that's for.
Y'all weed purple, my money purple. Y'all sleeve purple, I'm open circle. I wrote the verse that I hope I heard you.
Who gonna stop me, huh? Beat the odds, beat the fast. It wouldn't be why better